This is the Madison Capital Improvement Committee. It is Thursday, December 4th, 9:42 a.m. And we are convening temporarily without our chair. Tia is going to join us by phone. So do I have to make a motion to allow?
We have to do the Pledge of Allegiance first.
Oh, we do? Okay. All right. What are we doing the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and because she is on the phone, we'll have to do, if any votes that we take will have to be done via roll call.
Yes. All right.
I make a motion that we allow Tia to join via phone.
Okay.
You can second it, we can both say aye, right?
Second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, let's call her now. Oh, do we have to dial 9? I don't remember.
No, I think you just dial her number. Pick anything on the near the bottom. There you
Oops. That wasn't it.
go. You have to dial the 603
She isn't a 603.
or
207.
whatever her number
Are you sure we didn't dial 9 first?
You do have to dial one.
is. You have to dial the 1.
Wait, but I did.
207.
That's when it started to ring. Okay.
Oh, are you sure you're not on an internal extension?
Try this one. Yeah, it was an outside line. We wanted an outside line.
Now it's a party line. Did you hear that?
Hi, this is Tia.
Hi, Tia. This is Joy and Sharon and Mad TV and Asia and Nicole Nordland. How are you?
Okay, awesome. I've been a little better, but that's okay. I'm better than yesterday. How about you guys?
All right, we're good. So we have made a motion to allow you to join remotely.
Okay.
So I think the only thing you need to clarify for us is who is in the room with you.
Just me.
Just Tia, and then
The reason why you're not able to attend in person.
Flu.
fun. And thank you for not sharing. We appreciate that.
Right?
Participation without
Yeah.
sharing that. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so if it's okay, I'm gonna walk us through the agenda
Yep, good.
so that all you have to do is relax, yet participate, yet not get us sick. So. All right, so we just
Thank you.
so we can. Asia, can you hear her? Okay.
I can.
Okay, good. I'll turn it that way. All right, so first thing is approval of minutes from the November 6th. No, this is November 6th, but it's the November 20th meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's it? Oh, yeah, it should say November 20th.
Yeah. So I have reviewed them.
I've reviewed them. I wrote them.
Yeah.
Just flung them out there. I didn't review them. Just no
I will
editing.
tell you, I do not think that this is my best effort at taking meeting minutes because we were all over the place. So,
It was a long meeting.
and it was a long meeting.
All right.
Yeah.
I will accept a motion to approve them, and this will be by roll call vote.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Yep, second.
All right, Tia is seconding. All in favor, roll call vote, starting with Sharon.
Schilling eye.
Joy, aye.
Tia, aye.
All right, so moved. All right, next, public comments.
I do have public comment.
All right, let me get my notepad.
I'm gonna, I'm just adding a couple
Okay.
things up.
Tia, can you hear Nicole okay?
Sorry. Can you?
Not really.
All
Alright,
right.
I can come up.
You can move a chair up here if
Okay.
you want, Nicole.
All right.
Bring the chair.
That's okay, I don't need to sit. The last thing I need to do is sit more after I eat Thanksgiving.
All right, then we just gotta make sure Matt TV can hear you as you move about the room. All
Well, is there's a speaker?
Oh, yeah.
You're good with that, right?
right.
So I guess I have a couple concerns and a recommendation from the last meeting. I see that there's some to be determined, this is all related to DPW. On the first 4 lines of replacement equipment. So those years have yet to be determined.
Do you have the line numbers?
Yep, geez, that's
On the
small.
left-hand side.
Yeah, I know, but
It looks like,
Eyes.
we have truck 3 is, truck 3, right?
I think it's 7, 8, 9, 10 maybe, and 11?
Numbers got a little moved around.
Okay, well, on the sheet I have,
All right.
What's, so, on
Read the
the,
year and the,
it was
the year-
$10,000 starting in the,
start
read
with the
the
year.
truck.
oh,
The
okay.
year of the truck.
The
All
year of the
right.
truck.
Ready?
Ready?
I'm gonna follow across with my fingers, like a highway, heavy equipment ETF is the 10,000, so that's generic. Road improvement warrant articles, 400, so are you saying that was
Then-
my,
What I'm asking you for is which of these trucks are you talking about?
I'm talking about this
Funds.
top 4, the funds.
Okay, so we
Right,
kind of
so-
removed the funds.
Okay, those are gone now?
Yeah, they're off the CIP. Or
Okay,
they're kind
then
of-
it's a moot point.
Okay.
So then, beginning at wood chipper, is that one now gone?
Eager
Pretty
Beaver
much.
wood chipper
Okay.
is still TBD.
Excellent.
But they have made a comment that because of the number of
They're going to
times that they
rent.
use it, they're gonna rent.
Okay, so now are we moving down to the Peterbilt, $217,000?
Which
Truck
Peterbilt?
12?
The 2008 Peterbilt?
Yep. So that, mine is at line 12.
Okay, so I have that, the 2008 Peterbilt, truck number 12, they have,
12.
based on the information Dave gave us last time, the estimated year to replace is now 2028.
Okay,
Anticipated purchase price is $217,000. Expected offset from the sale of the current truck is $10,000, bringing it down to $207,000, anticipating a 6.49% interest rate. Total cost including interest is $268,117, coming from the highway heavy equipment ETF. Obviously, there'll need to be some kind of warrant article as well, because we are not gonna have $268,000 or probably even a first year's payment out of the highway heavy equipment ETF.
okay, so I guess from that truck down
Yeah.
to the 2024 Green Western Star,
Yes.
those years, if you lump everything from 2028 to 2034, seems super unrealistic for a town of 1,700 households. It's millions of dollars.
That's the one I printed this morning.
Okay, so it's a little different.
Yeah,
Right,
sorry
so
about that.
It
brother-
goes to 2039 now,
Okay,
for that last
yeah, there was 2039, there was one.
right?
But above it, it's a 5-year, approximately 5-year replacement of numerous.
Pretty much everything.
2036 for the
Yeah.
2021 John Deere.
2036, yep,
Yep.
so it's still within 5 to 6
2032.
years, yeah. I'm just saying that I would, my first gut reaction is there's just no way we could buy all of those things. So I
Correct.
would say that we could either chop some out that we don't need and get the rental
Okay.
nailed down, or spread that out over.
So during the last meeting, if you remember, Dave Swift talked about the idea that there were 2 trucks that they were looking at trading in, 3 and 10, and only replacing it with 1 truck. So they would drop a truck there.
Right.
And then the other discussion was to start now because there is a new grant. The grant is open and
The
usually
same Volkswagen one is coming around too? That grant?
There's around 2 for that right now.
there's
Yeah.
But I
around 2
think
for
there's
that right now.
around,
Right.
there's another grant too as well. but-
Right,
Yeah, so some of these, right now, we haven't quite identified them, but you're right, to try and purchase all of that
yeah,
within 5 years is insane.
yeah,
We don't have that kind of money, but to know that it needs to be replaced while it's on the CIP
Right.
is important, so that as we're prioritizing things and looking to see what can we do, can we get a grant, so we're only spending $50,000 kind of deal. I think that that's still realistic to have them in there.
Yeah, I'm not saying not to have them, I'm just saying that, trying to make sure that they are lasting, you know, especially the grader, which was in here, wasn't it? We
Ye-
talked about last time.
Yeah, they have that for replacement in 10 years.
Right.
Yeah, so to go from holding a grader for 40 to holding it for 10, there's gotta be like a middle ground there, you know what I mean? Then
Right,
your
but
$500,000
again,
piece of equipment.
that discussion was, last time we would reevaluate it at
Okay.
10 years.
All right.
Not necessarily, but to have the 10-year on here. And the discussion was that at 10 years, the residual value of the grader is still very high.
Right,
But like you said, well, just because we get even if we got $100,000 for it, we're still paying $600,000 or $700,000 for a new one.
Right.
And so it's still a high ticket item to
Right.
replace in 10 years, where the last one
less than
lasted
40, yeah.
Yeah, not without consternation, but it lasted 40.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so this part of this is to look at these things, see what the departments are thinking, understand where they think the money's going to come from, number
Right.
one, and then number two, reevaluate it every couple of years. Well, actually, every year it'll get
Yeah.
reevaluated, and so some of these dates could continue to get pushed out. But the idea is that we're saving a little bit every year, so
Right.
that when it does come time to replace it, we've got a pocketbook of $60,000 to put down, plus the trade-in value, which will take us maybe to 160 kind of deal. And then, oh, by the way, look for grants along the way as well.
Right.
So that we're not hitting the taxpayer with these big bills.
Right,
Because
right. Right.
yeah.
So that brings me to the second part, and I know we talked a little bit. I would like, if not the current software, then a software program that is going to take in all of our labor, including our health policies and what we pay, and factoring that in. So I use snow plowing because it seems simplistic to me, but there's no reason why we can't do it for all road maintenance and get a cost per mile. What is Madison spending per mile to, for example, snowplow? And then we can take that cost per mile, and possibly it's time to go out to bid to privatize some and get rid of half of our equipment. Because a lot of towns that I've read in New Hampshire are privatizing this stuff out of need because it's cheaper. Because they can't, so if it's cheaper, it should be a no-brainer.
Right.
There's no way we should be government should be taking care of our own roads when a private company who takes care of their own equipment, their own people, can come in and do it at a cost savings.
So the cost, I'm imagining gas, oil, antifreeze, labor, salt, sand, what else?
Labor, including healthcare, deaf,
So
fluid, now that we're
labor
moving to all deaf fleet.
Salary and benefits. as
Salary and
opposed to-
benefits, and, so you would take that and how many hours they were out, extrapolate out what they would get paid for those hours, and then, be able to say, town of Madison spends X amount of dollars per mile. I know I do it in my company for road maintenance. We're able to tell where's the tipping point, so.
So, alright, so liquids, labor, which includes wages, overtime, benefits.
Yeah.
Maintenance of the machines.
And cost of the actual machine or truck that we're using to, like, what do we pay for, where we at in the payment plan, that kind of thing. So the actual cost broken down into depreciation and whatever, however it can come out and that can give us a definitive number of how much it costs Madison. And maybe it should just be road maintenance in general, including plowing, so you get the whole year's picture, because they're not maintaining anything in the winter. That might be better to lump it all together and say Madison pays this much per mile, so that if we were to ever go out to bid, we can take our number of miles and figure out what that company is charging us per mile, and that's a concrete number that you can judge it by. Madison pays $40,000 per mile, I'm just throwing these out,
Right.
and this company's willing to come in and maintain our roads for $25,000 a mile, or whatever, year round.
Right.
And I think that's
Well, I
this
think-
might be moving into a not sustainable practice.
Well, and I mean, I understand completely that wanting to do this, because like any other like any other resource that we have, it's important for us to continue to double check and look to see what alternatives we have in order to fulfill the requirements
Right.
of the town, but save the taxpayer some money. Do it in a quality way, but
Right.
save the taxpayer the money. So I think it's important every couple of years to be able to do this
Right.
and look at it and see what's the best and most feasible and economical way to do this. And is it contracting out, or is it keeping it in-house? Or, 5 years from now, it doesn't make sense to keep it in-house anymore. It makes more sense to subcontract it out.
Right, so if you're going to do, say, a whole year's scenario, so that would include every piece of road equipment we own, and add all of that up together, plus the labor, plus everything else, that would give you a real number per mile for an annual cost to the taxpayer. I don't know exactly what the software looks like, or if there's a separate software, but I think it's beneficial to the taxpayer to have that number, that in 2026, Madison pays per mile this amount of money. And taking in the whole picture, cause, I mean, you're gonna put in $5 million worth of equipment, you're gonna get where somebody else, another company could be maintaining that equipment. And we go down to, dump roads and, dumping beaches,
Right.
or something, or maybe there's a halfway point where we're only grading our dirt roads and taking care of our parks and stuff and cemeteries, but it just seems like it's on a trajectory that's going so far, so fast, so high, that people like us that are in the room, or I don't mean to throw Asia in there, but you know what I mean, like, well, sometimes there's other people in the room,
Those of us in the seats.
and I'm in a position where I have to talk about raises, where the regular world's not getting raises. I have to talk about health insurance, where the regular world doesn't have health insurance. And I'm like trying to find the middle ground as a selectman and as somebody who used to be on the budget committee and to me who attends these meetings going, okay, who am I representing here?
And
Well,
as a
and
taxpayer,
And
representing
I'm
yourself,
trying
too.
to, and I am a taxpayer, and at some point, these things, I mean, all of this doesn't apply to our lives in the real world, but I just wanna know, I wanna know what I'm paying per mile in the town of Madison. That's literally, that gives me a concrete number in my head.
Even if I work, I don't know if there is a program that does that, but even if I work gets us halfway there, and then we take a payroll report from Linda and put it in a spreadsheet and calculate.
Right. Something, yeah, marry two systems together, that might be it, and then divide by the number of miles of road. So that's just something, I don't know who I request that from, the budget committee,
I think
my
it's
own
the
select board, I
selectmen.
guess.
I
Yeah,
think
and I
it's-
will, but
yeah.
this was the first meeting coming up, since,
Okay.
and I'll probably, had I gone to the budget committee, that's when I was gonna, on Tuesday during the storm, I would've brought it up there, cause
Right.
that's really
And-
a number I wanna know, like I asked the Dr. Whalen of the school last year, and I'm going to ask him this year when he prints his final report, I wanna see cost per pupil so that it's in front of us. That is a number that really helps me, and last year.
That isn't in the usual report.
No, I had asked, they used to be, they took it out, and I requested it last year, they put it back in. So it was 41,500 for Madison, 29,000 for, let's say, the middle school, somewhere in those, and then 28 for the high school, so it all came out to about 26, or something like that. But it was a request, and it really, to me, that's how my brain works.
Right.
That's the box I wanna fill, when I'm looking at
Absolutely, absolutely.
making decisions.
And I agree, and I don't think that having any of that knowledge is a bad thing. I think
Right.
it's a good thing. The more information and the more, I mean, you do get to a point of information overload, but
Yeah.
the more data that you have,
Right.
the easier it is to make decisions with regard to how you're gonna spend taxpayer money,
Right, and I
which
think,
has a finite source.
and I think that the taxpayer, having all of this big picture stuff when we talk about salaries and benefits and equipment, bringing it back down to this is what it costs per mile is a really good tool to have. Just like bringing all that school stuff down to how much does it cost per pupil is a really good tool to have.
Yeah, I feel like we have so many moving parts, but to have that consolidated view, puts
Yes.
it all together.
Yeah, absolutely. It helped me with the school thing last year immensely, and it used to be in the school thing. I also requested the number of Madison students that choose not to go to any public school, and that was like 20-something%, 28%. So it's just it gives you a clear picture, and I feel like it helps the voter
Yes, absolutely,
make informed decisions.
absolutely.
I think that's it, thanks.
All right,
Public comment.
that was good. I got your two, you kind of had like two items,
Yep, I have,
placing all this stuff in a short period of time and then
and then the
calculating the,
cost
Yeah.
per mile.
Is that something, Joy, that we can find out through our chart that we have right here, or would it be something else that we would have to put together?
yeah, we'd have to pull in information from probably iWork about the usage of the machines. And then they would, DPW should provide us with exactly how many miles of road and kind of how, like, when they're plowing and, you know, just how many times they have to pass with a grader, whether it's cleaning, ditching on the side of the roads or whatever. So we kinda need the equipment cost
They
and
might
then
already
the,
have that. Do
Huh?
you think they might already have these numbers, like
you would hope so.
tucked away, maybe?
Yeah, that they would be able to calculate the cost of the equipment, cost of employees, cost of supplies, and then,
Yeah.
and then, yep,
You wouldn't have to take the synopsis of if they were ditching or if they were grading, because you would just say, we've
Oh.
owned these equipment all year round.
true,
We've paid all year plus overtime,
Right.
we've benefited all year, you know, how much did the equipment cost,
Yeah.
how much did it cost the upkeeping
Yeah.
fixed, and then divide by the number of roads.
We should be able to look too at the mileage from last year, cause iWorks should have all of that. The mileage from last year, and then look at the mileage from this year, extrapolate and come up with, okay, here's what the miles were per year. Look at that and see if does that sound right? Did we have a weird year or an extraordinary year in some respects? But I would say no, we didn't. In fact, I think we had a less use year because we didn't have to deal with huge rainstorms and washing out roads. But then using that number to get you an average use of machines for a year.
Right,
And
and the
then-
number of miles is a concrete number, and I believe Mike probably has it, I know I've heard it said
Oh,
in
yeah.
many
Well, I know there's
meetings.
26 miles of dirt road.
Yeah, and
But I
then
don't
you
know
have
how many miles of the other road, of
Asphalt.
paved road, so.
I actually have that. All right. Tia, if anybody's talking and you need to interrupt, just say, hey,
just cough.
just
Okay.
interrupt us to make sure that you're heard,
So that
okay?
was a really good discussion. I agree with Nicole. I think that would be helpful. Just to have, okay, here's what we do summertime, here's what we do for youth wintertime. And maybe Dave Swift could, if he already has that information, we can just talk to him and get that number for Nicole. And I don't know if it's something that belongs in the CIP, or if it lies outside of us.
Yeah, I think that would be a separate report, but it
Yeah.
does help, it is a report that would help the selectmen, the budget committee, and the
Okay.
CIP. CIC.
Okay, and that would be really considering shifting how we operate the DPW.
Yep,
Okay. So yeah, I would definitely want Josh and Dave in on that, just to give us their insight too. Not that we just want to like go in and, oh, this is cheaper, and really, really think it through.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
There's a ton of variables like priority and, you know, like, I mean, if you're contracting something out to another company, you kind of have to make sure you do a really good specification for that contract to show.
Yeah, that's contract language.
Like,
Yeah.
well, but also understanding what priority now will you get in relation to the other towns that they might be servicing, and,
Right.
you know, where,
Yeah.
is there a time limit, like with buses, and, you know, that, you have to be able to get the main arteries done by, you know, within an hour.
Well, to
or-
give you an example, having just taken on 3 major plowing accounts, each account got their own crew and their own equipment for the winter.
And
So,
that may be the way
to
that
outsource
your
that,
company
those-
does that.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
the account is so big and requires so much detail and attention, like a whole town would, that there's a crew and equipment assigned just to that.
And again, that
Yeah.
may very well be, but until we, and so gonna have to, if the town were to pursue this, somebody has to sit down and write the RFP.
Yes.
And that RFP has to be very detailed.
Right.
So that we don't miss things and we're not generic, that allows too much wiggle room from the company that bids it.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
I think once we get the CIP done, we can start that as a project, either that or we take it back to the select board and have like
I think it's
another committee or subgroup that can work on that specifically, because I just feel like it's a big project, and sorry, wow, speaking, yeah, I just feel like it's a big project that deserves maybe a subgroup, and I don't know if that's something that we would have to go back to the select board to get approval for and work through you guys.
Sometimes they allow a working group if it's not somebody that makes decisions,
Yeah.
but if it is a board created by the board, then it has to, committee created by the board, it has to be, like we're doing here.
Yeah,
Cause at one
I
point,
like
like,
that idea.
yeah, so for the solar, for the energy committee, to talk about the solar panels and stuff, there used to be one, and the select board did just kind of give folks a blessing to kind of do research on their own, and then, maybe it becomes an official committee again after.
I was on that one too.
They're reviving it
Okay.
unofficially, so,
officially?
unofficially at this point. Alright. Alright, so the next item I have is update from Joy. So I've got a few things to update. We do have a copy of the purchasing policy, from Linda, thank you, Linda. It was modified in August of 2022. I did find the meeting minutes where they modified it. They made 2 modifications, raising, it used to be, alright, so the first line is goods and services estimated to cost up to $1,000 will be purchased at the discretion of the department head, no purchase requisition required. Back in 2022, August, they changed it from 500 to 1,000, just for administrative ease. And then the other change that was made, where did my notes go? Oh. And I thought that maybe that was the only change for that one. Alright, yeah, I think maybe that was the only change for that one. So, yep, that still stands. So goods and services, up to $1,000 are at the discretion of the department head. Over $1,000, requires a purchase rec, which comes before the select board. So anything 1,000 to 10,000 will be at the discretion of the Board of Selectmen through, submission of a purchase rec by the department head prior to goods being ordered or services scheduled. And we do sometimes get some that even says, estimated, so that they're just kind of getting approval, to shop around at that point. And then goods and services estimated to cost more than 10,000 but less than 15,000 will require an RFP, request for proposals, to at least 3 vendors whenever possible, and then a purchase requisition to be submitted to the Board of Selectmen for approval prior to the goods being ordered or services being scheduled. And goods and services estimated to cost 15,000 or more will require a request for sealed bids, providing detailed specifications to bidders, followed by a purchase requisition and contract for services to the Board of Selectmen for approval prior to the goods being ordered or services scheduled. We should probably also, work into that, maybe what goes on the CIP, maybe, I'm not sure, but also make sure that, things at a certain dollar amount, or maybe it's somewhere else, require a warrant article and approval at town meeting. Cause if something costs $15,000 or more, and we're, like, I just feel like, what's the threshold for requiring a very specific warrant article to receive approval for that item at town meeting?
Yeah, why does every truck go on it and not?
Yeah, like a couple of years ago, they used encumbered funds at the end of the year to purchase an entire police vehicle outright, which just felt weird.
Yeah.
And then at the end of last year, we had lots of money left over, and we used it to purchase a lot of some expensive equipment for like a defibrillator and something else, a water pump for the fire department. It just seems like it
It was
was.
$83,000.
We encumbered 83,000 between it all, and I don't know. I know there's certain things at the discretion of the select board, but I feel like that much money should go before the town.
I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing this.
The purchase policy? The
Yeah, I just
purchasing
got it
policy
this
and
morning.
procedure?
We'd
I know
asked
that
for it,
the
yeah.
truck that we're buying didn't have these things in it.
The
Didn't
what?
The truck does not have 3 RFPs
Didn't have a sealed bid.
or sealed bid or anything.
Well, they had the quotes, they had the 3 quotes.
But
They had one.
not specific, only one was specific to this truck.
Only one was specific to that particular truck, but there were 3 quotes that were submitted with the proposal. I would presume that the select board gave the DPW permission to go for the grant.
Yes.
Yes.
And we
Okay.
asked, and it was my understanding that Linda and our DPW director would be jointly working on it, and I believe that was what that was, discussed. And when we would check in during meetings, how's it going? It was, we're working on it kind of thing.
Right, but now there is a warrant article, now that we've received the grant, so they needed the grant first, so they would know kind of how much they needed to ask for. It's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Which procedure or which process do you follow? Do you ask the town for permission to even go after all of that in case you don't get the grant? But we didn't commit to anything until we knew we received the grant, so we didn't commit to buying a truck. And I'm presuming you guys, select board, have you approved the purchase? Has there been a?
That's what that special meeting last week was about.
It
was to do that, but has that been done?
It was to put in the order
Right.
for it.
And has that been done?
Yep,
Yes.
the letter was signed
Signed that night.
to put in the order.
So,
I think because before we signed that, absolutely critical to have the feedback of the folks who will be voting for it in March. So feedback that I got personally, that people were putting on Facebook, that people, put in the meeting, the general consensus seemed to be, stop doing this, but we'll approve this because we don't wanna lose out on $255,000.
Yes, but don't operate this way
Yeah.
again.
Figure it
Right.
out.
And I'm in agreement with that.
well,
That's why we're
again,
looking at it all.
I don't wanna get on my soapbox about this. For the second time, we've operated in a weird manner that's forced the town into a kind of a corner with regard to purchasing something that's a large ticket item.
And I think the tipping point for myself to vote for it was that the grant money was not more of my taxpayer money. It wasn't coming from the state that I paid into. It was actually finally a private company held accountable
Responsible, right?
for doing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
Like that, then I said, I'm gonna take their money.
absolutely, and I completely agree with that.
I think I wouldn't have if it was if it was just
A state grant?
state grant, cause they don't have money trees down there, I've been there. They all get it all from me. Yeah.
Their money tree has my check on it.
Exactly.
Alright, so another piece that came out of this is obviously things are being purchased over $15,000 without sealed bids, things are being purchased between 10 and 15 without RFPs. So we need to enforce as the select board, following the policy. And I remember there were some big ticket items.
I don't know how to do that when we already see the check already written out.
We can't after the fact, you have to before the fact. So that's why this CIP is so important. When you know something is coming up, that they want to replace a piece of equipment, then they're held responsible and accountable for the procedures that they're supposed to be following to do the right thing. Otherwise, we, as a taxpayer, need to say no.
Right, but even the $15,000 items aren't on the CIPs, so maybe they should be.
Yeah, yeah. So
I
they're
don't think
kind
we
of,
have any $15,000 items
Not in this
yet.
world.
But the CIP was geared to collect anything over $5,000 or $5,000 and up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
so a couple of things. So the BOS, when we review the manifest, I tend to flag, like, big ticket items and kind of like, all right, what is this? You know, break it down and see, you know,
Where it came from.
yeah, where it came from, what it is. And then when we have,
Which is way easier to do now that I have this in front of me.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then when we have purchase recs, again, the select board, they come across our signature items at the end. We don't necessarily get information in our binder that we get every week, every 2 weeks. And sometimes it is just kind of something sliding across the table, so, we definitely need to stop. Well, no, no, they're usually in the back, I apologize. They're usually in the back at the end, so my apologies, we do get those in advance. But it's
Do
definitely.
you guys get, as select board, do you get like a policy and procedure manual when you are elected?
We do not.
No, that's why I said it's so
Okay.
nice
I feel
to
like-
see this for the first time. Never seen it.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little frustrating because you have all of these policies to uphold, you need to know what they are.
I did
And
ask in,
this could be added in, and then any of the newer members get a policy book. So wherever this came from, there should be a whole binder on this, and that should go to.
Of copies of all the town's
that you're in
policies.
now.
yeah, so I did ask for and receive, when I first became a selectman, the personnel policies. So I have a binder of that, and then we periodically ask for a
We just got
book,
job
and we just asked again, a book of, like you said, the purchasing like a book of the town policies. And
Just
Linda
got job
says,
descriptions, that was new.
yep. And Linda said they're kind of here, they're not necessarily in a binder, they exist. So she was going to put the purchasing policy and everything
Okay.
together for us.
Okay. And maybe she could put all the other policies in there.
Yep, absolutely.
If they're all scattered about, maybe that would be helpful.
Yep, that's what we've asked for, and she's putting that together for us.
Nice, okay. Does this go, like, we wouldn't make changes on our little committee to
No.
this, but would this be something, Joy, that you would bring back to the select board to say, hey, let's include, the parameters of going on to the CIP?
Yes.
Or maybe there's already a CIP procedure?
Yeah, I don't think so, but we do have kind of reference materials in the town reports from 20 years ago where they had a CIP committee and they wrote very lengthy, detailed reports. But yeah, there may be like a warrant article, because we should ask what the first warrant article was to create that committee. We should ask, did they have like
I'm sorry,
policies
which
and
committee?
procedures? There was a capital improvement committee 20 years ago.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So original CIP committee, warrant article, and any kind of documentation, procedural documents that they had.
Well, wouldn't the planning board have a copy of all of that since it was a subset of the planning board, Tia?
I can ask Mark
Yeah,
what we have, or Kate, and see if we have anything left over.
I was gonna say Kate's more likely to have it.
Okay, I'll put that as on my to-do task for.
She may not, it was 20 years ago.
And
She may
then
not.
The
we want
files,
to
the
combine,
historical
we want
files.
to add that, or maybe we edit it and then we add in a couple of lines onto this procedure.
So we were given permission, I guess, to write a kind of equipment disposal policy. So when we're selling equipment, we have to put it on a bidding website that we're, preferably one that we don't incur charges to list it on. That, like that we have to do our homework, listing on valid sites rather than, hey, I know a guy. Here's a police car. So there's that. So we do have that was given under our purview, kind of an
The
equipment
CIP.
the
Yeah,
committee
under this
here
committee.
was
And
given.
I would say anything free online is gonna reach the most people.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be municipal, it could be any marketplace.
Yeah.
it's, you know, just having listed heavy equipment myself to sell, and you do get a lot of inquiries, I don't think it has to be, just thinking about what's coming through for the staff here, like say things, whatever we're getting rid of is parked out front, it should be an easy response to get all those.
Well, it should,
It should be, it's parked out front, here's the address, come in, I'll give you the keys, go look at it, you don't have to go, you know, people wanna talk you down before they even look at it. It should be like, we did negotiate, it should be some guidelines, like we negotiate on site. They have to come and see the thing and then make us an offer. Like, because people will say, like, I'll give you this, and they're literally can't even get here, and it'll just be a waste of time for the people monitoring on site.
I understand, having tried
Yeah.
to sell stuff on
Yeah.
Facebook Marketplace and
Yeah.
those kinds of Craigslist and those kinds of sites,
Yeah.
you get a lot of junk
Yeah,
that people email you or text you or message you and
Yeah.
then never respond, that kind of thing. But
yeah,
I also think it should not necessarily be the sole responsibility of the people
Right, no.
upstairs. The department head who owns that piece of equipment has to have skin in the game
right,
with regard to that particular piece of equipment. They know it best, they know its
Yeah.
operating parameters, they know what may or may not be wrong with it, so they have to participate in the process for disposing of the property. They have to.
yeah.
Alright. Okay, and then, so at the bottom half of the existing purchasing policy procedure, does specify that the purchase rec goes to accounts payable for assignment of a rec number prior to approval of the board of selectmen, line item and current budget balance must be included on the form. That happens, and not all the forms seem to have the budget line item and the current budget balance. Some of them do, and some of them, you know, and it's completed. We can see that we're trying to purchase something on an over-expended line, so that's always very helpful, but I don't think all the forms, and I may just be mixing up two different forms, but I don't think all the forms we see have that. The next,
That's great.
Well, that's
idea,
pushed
though.
back to the function of the finance department, the finance folks, to give you that information, the most up-to-date information, and say, we can't approve this until we have this other information.
right, yep,
That happens 2 or 3 times, and then they'll get the clue real quick, like, okay, before we even send it to them for expediency purpose, let's make sure this information's on here.
alright, next, procedural piece is, if or when a purchase requisition is approved by the selectmen, a signed copy will be returned to the department and the department head. They can place an order, with the purchase requisition number, or make the purchase by providing the vendor a copy of the signed requisition, so that's good. Prior to the invoice being paid, accounts payable must have the invoice with packing slip stamped as received and signed off on by the department head with a copy of the approved purchase requisition attached. There we need to clarify a bit, that we need to know what, you know, still tie it back to budget line, tie it back to if it's a purchase for a vehicle, if it's a purchase, you know, like,
Well, isn't that on the
Category.
purchase requisition?
ah,
that
it
information?
doesn't specify, does it?
Right, it says a copy of the approved purchase requisition is attached, so all of
Right,
that.
but the purchase requisition has the budget line, it doesn't necessarily have what truck or what piece of equipment, or
What truck or what piece of equipment, what?
if they're purchasing a plow,
Okay.
it doesn't necessarily associate it with, this is going on truck 12. Or if we purchase, or if we have a giant repair expense, it doesn't sometimes it's buried into, you know, sometimes it's buried in the rec, sometimes, but it's not always obvious which piece of equipment it's going to.
Okay, so wouldn't that then be where the template comes in? That you attach the template to this prior to the invoice being paid? You know, it's stamped as received, signed off by the department head with a copy of the approved purchase requisition and the CIP template? Because in that template, it
The
says
cost
what,
analysis.
the template that I guess we call, I think that's a
Yeah.
terrible name for this thing
Yeah.
though, but we'll have to find a better name.
CIP
for it.
request, and well, we didn't wanna call it request.
No, it's not, I don't
It's
think
not
it's a
a
request,
request,
I
but
think
it's
it's
a-
just, yeah, I think it's just
It's kind of a request, but we just.
capital information or, you know, equipment.
Justification,
Yeah, maybe justification or,
purchase justification.
Yeah,
but,
Alright.
but I think
Yeah,
if you,
maybe that would help them too, and then it would also help the board.
right,
In the case of large bulk purchases, reasonable estimates will be allowed on the purchase requisition.
what does that mean? What are large bulk purchases? There's no
Sand,
definition
salt.
of,
Yeah,
We're about to have a lot of DEF purchases, that's for sure, with the new truck. Because those are gallons and gallons of fluid you have to buy.
right, so,
You'd probably buy it by the pallet.
and how many reasonable estimates? There should be at least 3, right? I mean, it's still gonna be a large purchase.
all right, I'm just gonna mark this one up.
Like if they had to replace all the computers at once, or like all of those radios, we put the radios on the CIP because it was over 15,
Right.
well, over 5, but
And
who
so,
decides what's reasonable?
and then does this apply to repairs?
Right.
Yeah, so I don't understand, so reasonable is a subjective term, it shouldn't even be in there. It should just say estimates will be allowed on the purchase requisition.
We can ask what the thought process was on that.
Yeah. But there should be 3 of them.
Should be, yeah. Should still be 3.
So do we go back to the select board and ask if we can
Update the
make these
policy.
edits?
Yeah.
Or do we just make the edits and see if they like them? If they like them?
Yeah, I feel like we can review it and propose edits, I think that's fair. So I do wanna see also, what is it, warrant article? Okay, and then, okay. All right, so my notes, oh wait, hold on, there's just
There's some
well,
on
a
the
couple
back.
more things, just a few on the back. In the event of an emergency purchase which cannot wait until the next select board meeting, the administrative assistant or finance director may approve in place of the board of selectmen at the next scheduled meeting of the board, they will review and sign off. I don't love that.
I don't. Who's the finance director?
So under
Jordan?
previous,
She's a treasurer.
Oh.
no, finance, we used to have about 2015-ish, we had our town administrator retire, resign, and.
Right, we used to
stuff.
have a finance director, we no longer do.
So after, right, we used to have a town administrator and a deputy administrator. After the town administrator, left, it changed into an administrative assistant and finance director. So we no longer had a town administrator and deputy, we now had a finance administrator and an administrative assistant. So that's how old this part of it is too, is that section is
But
Yeah,
what
we
do
don't-
we have
from
right
2015.
now?
We just have a town administrator,
Right,
Just one.
and,
just one, and an administrative assistant,
Assistant.
which is Kate,
Kate, yeah.
Kate's position.
And neither
She's
one would be
administrative
the-
assistant / land use coordinator.
Right.
which is, she's doing a lot more land use.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
because there's a lot more land use to do right now.
so I feel like we need to define emergency purchase.
Mm.
I don't like that. What constitutes an emergency purchase? I mean, we're out of salt, we have 5 storms in a weekend. That might constitute an emergency purchase,
Uh-huh.
maybe?
Most things we
Road
can rent.
washouts,
So
Something
this,
broke, we could rent it
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
weekend or.
so, and this should say the town administrator?
right, and change that, yep. Alright, next is in the case of the library, the authorizing agents shall be the library board of trustees, who must submit a purchase rec to the accounts payable department, which again, we don't know that, but anyway. For assignment of a purchase requisition number prior to the approval by the board of selectmen for any goods in excess of $1,000. I'll have to look, I don't know, I don't always understand how the trustees operate and how that falls under the town, I don't know. So I don't understand authorizing agents, oh, as opposed to the department head?
Yes.
Interesting, alright. Okay, failure to comply with the above policy may result in disciplinary action by the board of selectmen per the town's personnel policy, as the same may be amended.
If we're going to go through and edit this, should we touch base with Sloan and just see if that
Yeah.
still complies? Okay.
We can ask Sloan and the library trustees.
Okay.
And does $1,000 still make sense? For any goods or services, and shoot, she can spend more than $1,000 on books.
Right.
It's in her budget line to make her have to comply with this for buying books.
Wouldn't this be for outside the budget line, really?
No, I think
No.
this is still even.
Because you're asking for the budget line numbers, the line item name and current budget balance must be included on the form. So these are,
Cause we already approve it at town meeting, if we approve her budget and she has $5,000 worth of books and,
right, currently. but
Yeah.
I don't think they currently do this for in excess of $1,000.
okay.
I think that they do this, I don't know when the last time they have done this, the library side.
So at one point, I did ask, I think, either when I was on the budget committee or a new selectman, you know, obviously there are departments that are purchasing more than $1,000 worth of stuff.
Right.
Without necessarily a purchase rec or a pre-approval or whatever. And it was just certain departments just have very expensive expenses that just, we don't always see recs. So I think we should change that or enforce this policy consistently for all departments. That's a can of
Well,
worms.
And with this, will this help with, so I was watching the select board meeting when we were discussing the truck and the grant, and we were talking about, all right, we have to do this, but in the future, we really need to follow a better procedure. Will this help with that?
Yes,
Okay,
major.
all right.
Okay.
I really personally think that the crux of this comes down to the selectmen enforcing it.
Yep.
The selectmen have to push back and say, no, read the policy and look
Yeah,
and see.
I think if we weren't able to fill that room last week and get voices opinion, I don't know that I would have signed.
I agree. I mean, obviously, that when we were asked to sign it with the line removed that was dependent upon town meeting,
Yeah.
that's when I,
Like,
requested
oh.
that meeting. Cause I wanted,
Yeah.
we can't just assume, we can't just
I
expect.
wholeheartedly think that if we had the 3 bids in front of us, there would have been somebody in there, not 100% sure, that would have signed to get that truck made sold to us by their company, if all they had to do was sign pending approval by town, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, we could have had options of places that
Yeah.
would have signed that,
Yeah, I think that should have.
cause I think that.
I think that letter should have went out with the RFP, and then had them sell to us, spec me a truck, here's what we're getting out of this grant, and here's the letter you'll have to sign.
See, I'm never in favor of telling somebody else what you're getting for the grant, because then that gives them the number.
Right.
Tell them that
Or if
we're
you're
in
getting
pursuit of a grant.
yeah,
We are
yeah,
in pursuit of a grant.
Yeah,
That happened
and
with-
maybe even tell them it's 70% so that they can, have more options or they'll be more motivated, that they know this town is getting a good amount of the purchase price.
Right.
That happened with the FEMA grant, was that the vendor was in the room when FEMA's like, oh, well, no, we can approve up to, and all of a sudden,
That's where
between their estimate and their invoice, it doubled.
Yeah, yeah.
They gave
yeah.
their estimate
To,
before
to get
FEMA,
to the
Yeah,
FEMA,
right.
yeah.
so that wasn't cool.
No, I see what you're saying.
Alright, so I have notes on the,
I
go ahead.
emailed Kate just to ask for the last CIP procedure. Julie, do you want to take the lead on this in editing, making the edits and bringing it back to the select board?
I was just about to offer. Well, I was gonna offer to make the edits and bring it back to the CIP committee to make sure that everybody, that I included everything and that it reflects, somebody else might have an idea before the next meeting. And this might be something that we do vote on as a committee, that we all agree that this is what we wanna submit to the select board.
Okay, do you like that, Joyce?
Absolutely. You're okay with that?
Okay.
Yeah, so if you just let me know,
And I'll just do whatever Kate sends me.
what's that?
I'll look at what Kate sends me, and then I'll send a copy over to you guys too.
Thank you. So I'll do this by the next meeting. if you guys have any notes, go ahead and, when I send it out, make your own notes, and then at the next meeting, we can amend on the spot, or just approve as amended sort of thing, and type it up final.
Yeah.
Alright,
Okay.
So-
Thank you.
the next thing was, thank you, Tia, for, sending a capital expenditure review policy with $5,000.
How do I not see any of this?
I don't know. So, here,
Thanks.
I'll give you my copy.
No, we can just
Okay.
look together, but Tia, I don't know if I missed an email or I never got an email, but like I never saw the
Agenda.
the agenda, and if this capital expenditure review policy was in that email, I didn't see this either, so I don't know.
Maybe Tia's got your email wrong and someone
I'm
else is
sorry.
receiving
No, that's okay.
absolutely fascinating
No, I
stuff.
think what I did is I shared it through my drive, and so maybe I didn't even, I don't know.
Okay, maybe that went to a junk folder or
I'll
something.
send it in an email form.
Yes,
Please.
yeah, because we're not supposed to have any way to collaborate outside a meeting.
Because then that constitutes a meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if we send something to each other for review, send it to yourself and blind copy the other two. That way we don't accidentally get
Okay.
into a reply all having a discussion outside of a meeting.
Okay.
Yes, and then like a workspace is a potential to collaborate outside a meeting, so we don't do that either.
Right.
But how would you know this?
Okay.
You would not know these things.
You would not
because,
know these things.
Because it's life is so much easier professionally when you have a collaborative workspace. But because we're a committee, we can't do that.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so I put some dates through, and then I saw Sharon. Sharon also sent some of the more important dates.
Oh, right, the relevant dates. Yeah, I sent you a copy of those relevant dates.
I don't think I printed mine.
I gave you a printed copy when we came in.
Oh, great.
So,
Thank you.
So I might need to change the one that I sent. Let's see, what if this doc is not working? Hang on a sec.
here we go. Anybody else need a copy of this? I gave you a copy, right, Nicole?
Which one is that?
The 25-26 Madison budget relevant dates.
Yes, I did see that. I don't know where I put it down, but it's in here, yeah. It's in here, I think. I did glance at it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the ABC meeting that was supposed to be December 2nd is now December 11th, I think. It
That's
depends.
what I wrote on my calendar when I talked to you.
Yeah, no, but it depends on what constitutes a quorum, because we have 6 people, do I have to have 3 or 4?
I think,
I think 3, but I wanted to double check.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember.
Well, we
Okay.
have 5 on the select board and quorum's 3, right?
Right.
Yeah,
But
but
that's because you're over
more than 1/2.
50-50.
Yeah, more than.
You're more than the half. With 6 members, your quorum would be 4.
4, okay.
So we can't have the meeting on the 11th because there are not 4 members available.
So Tia, were
Oh,
you
okay.
tying in the policy, the proposed policy, with the dates, or?
I was trying to.
Okay.
So the one that I put together, I was listening to what you guys were saying about needing a policy for the select board. And for the CIP, I thought we could include that in there. And I didn't know if it would be helpful for you guys to review it and see if you liked it, if it would be something that could work for you.
The schedule?
But maybe this is something that we can add into the procedure that you already have. And it's basically just saying when and why you would need to go through this procedure, and then the dates that we would expect to be able to review these things, so that we are not reviewing grants in November.
Yeah. Or just rip it.
It did.
Okay.
It was getting it out of the packets, that was the problem.
Crackle, crackle. Sharon was opening a protein bar or something, so
Right. I
she's
need
opening it
food.
under the table to keep it away from the microphones. Like, just rip it, just do it. So yeah, so I see what you've done here. You've done an annual schedule, kind of a month, or every 2 months, 2 months or 1 month at a time. In April and May, post town meeting, review the CIP, departments identify potential needs. So then, June, July, selectmen issue a CIP memo. Departments must submit new project concepts. August, departments finalize cost estimates. CIP submissions due to the committee in September. And then for September, October, we review all capital requests. October, November, ABC reviews capital and major expenditures proposals. Maybe that's what it's called, it's proposal.
Mm.
Proposal form. There we go.
Yeah.
Proposal, alright. There we go. Thank you, Tia, you gave us the right word.
There you go.
So October, November, ABC reviews capital and major expenditure proposals. November, December, selectmen receive the final CIC and ABC recommendations, vote on the warrant items. We actually don't do that until,
January.
yeah. And then January, public
Okay.
hearings, RFPs due if needed. The public hearing usually happens actually in February. But why would you know that? Okay.
What was the thing that happens in February?
You have January public hearings and RFPs due if needed. But February is when the public budget hearings happen.
Okay.
And then the warrant is finalized and posted. February, March, I forget which, but that might be March. Or, that, no, that's too
No,
close to town
beginning
meeting.
February.
Yeah, it's end of February. Or yeah,
No,
February.
it's the
So,
beginning.
well, it has to be after the budget hearing, so yeah. The budget hearing is usually the first or second Tuesday of. Yeah, budget hearing is on the 10th. So it's finalized, it's officially, the votes are finalized at that point, the wording is finalized at that point. So then it's just a matter of gathering, printing, posting.
Well, these are the petition ones.
So I feel like this kind of brings it back to the original schedule that Sharon had talked about,
Yeah,
wanting, or was it Joy? One of you said that you wanted to review all of this right after town meeting and kind of work through the summer to get everything ready. It just seems like there's not enough time, and if we have these things that are coming up later on, if we started earlier, maybe they wouldn't pose such a problem.
absolutely. For example, if we, so we'll have an idea in March, kind of what got approved, what didn't. And then, yeah, in April, we ask kind of folks to, all right, what didn't get approved at town meeting and what are you thinking for next year? What's next on your list, right? So we have things on the CIP that they're gonna say 2027. So we start having them look at the 2027 stuff and start grant shopping
Right
immediately.
right after town meeting.
Yeah, I think the word grant should,
Yeah.
a grant applying or whatever,
In capitals.
should be in there at a certain month. Like, that's the month you go and look at them all, and by, let's say, July 1st, your applications are all in.
Yeah.
By
Well,
August.
it depends on the timing of the grant.
Right, no, I mean, but in general, if it's very open, that gives us time to review it all, because
Yes.
of all the stipulations.
And so, yeah, if April, May, they're filling out grant stuff, and you have June, July, the selectmen issue a CIP memo and departments submit official things that they wanna do, they have to submit what grant they're either going after or have already to purchase that.
So whose job description entails going to look for grants? Is it the department head?
Good question.
Because I don't, all of the grants that I've seen happen in the last 2 years, so it have been happenstance. Like, we happened upon a grant that's gonna allow us to do this, and, you know, whether it's a selectman finds them, as in joint
like
found,
this last meeting, and I saw Walmart has a matching grant for police departments,
right,
cause it's in their values.
right,
So Chief Hayford typically manages, as my understanding is, he does the grants for the police department, because he comes to the select board meetings and says, so we just got this extra money to do these patrols through this highway grant,
But they're
my
the
understanding is
typical,
he covered it.
I think those grants are, like the safety grants, they're pretty much every police department knows of those.
There are some outsourced, out on the, like the Walmart thing, nobody knew about, nobody's brought that up,
Right.
and.
No, but I'm saying, whose job then
Yeah.
is it? Is it Chief Hayford's job to go look for those grants? Or do we have somebody, is it the town administrator's responsibility to go, search once a month for whatever grants might be out there that might be applicable to
When I
the
was
fire
on the
department?
ABC for years, I wanted to, a grant writer employed that would work for both the school and the town. I guess you're not supposed to give them a portion of the grant that they
No,
win.
you can't.
But I
That's
thought that would be
pretty
a great
illegal.
incentive for them to go after everyone,
Right,
So,
but that's not gonna happen anytime soon.
No, but I thought it, even if it's somebody in the town was really good at it and they took it, we could, they could do it from home, they don't have to come in here,
We could give them a
something-
stipend
the
to do
stipend
it.
or stipend per grant one, or a stipend to write the grant and another one if they get the grant.
but right now I think we
Right
need to
now.
focus on, so we're asking the departments to potentially identify their needs after town meeting, and then by June, July, selectmen say, okay, give us what you've got, and it comes to the CIC, and I feel like at that point, they should know what grant, like they've had
So-
April, May, June, they've had, 2 or 3 months to
So
identify
we're going back
grants.
to, it's the department head's responsibility.
That's what we have, that's I think what the select board needs to decide, because,
And it should be clarified to go after grants that both they find and are brought to them, like
yes,
Yeah.
finding that last one.
right, and Joe presenting every year, it feels like,
Yeah.
fire trucks, we can get a $500,000 fire truck, so. And it's unclear even, I think, amongst the select board
Right,
who's responsible,
Well,
because there seemed to be,
I think it should be mandatory.
there just seemed to be a shift onto the responsibility of the select board about grants. So we need clarification as exactly this question, who is responsible for the grants?
I think it's a two-part, finding the names of grants and the actual applying for them. I think finding the names of grants the responsibility could be shared amongst boards and department heads. And then the execution of the grant application should be department heads. Because you don't want somebody that doesn't, saying, well, I'm not gonna go after that one, not having that choice. You wanna go after all the available ones, whether you find it or the selectmen or the budget committee finds it.
Right.
Once you
If
get
it's
that in your
appropriate to go
inbox,
after it, yeah.
yeah, once you get it in that inbox, then you have to at least follow up and make the application.
And I think that there needs to be a
Because
sort
it's
of,
subjective whether or not people feel like they're gonna get one.
So it sounds like
Then you don't
identifying,
want it to all fall back onto Linda,
right,
right, no,
like as an admin duty.
no, it's not. Yeah.
right, so we wanna, identifying grants, anybody,
But I think that identifying grants is a year-round process. It's an
Yeah.
every single month process.
Yeah.
I heard about this, I heard about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Should be researching grants every single month.
but the department heads, when they identify their potential needs and they've identified, I want to replace X next year, they need to start specifically looking.
And they, and in that identification of needs, you go through and say, okay, we're gonna need a new generator for the garage, and we need a new couple plows, and we need this and that and the other thing. I think at that point they go, I am looking for grants to see if there are any applicable for all of these items.
And also if we kind of post it to the community, even on the website,
And that's what we're starting to do
we're looking
now,
for
too.
grants on, and then somebody shows up at a CIC meeting and says, hey, Walmart has a police grant,
Yeah,
then that's information.
yeah.
So
Then-
I wanna make sure that we're not putting a town responsibility on the taxpayers, but we definitely want their voices.
Their input.
Yes.
Yeah. So, alright, so when they identify their potential needs, they need to start looking for grants, then we kind of put it out to the public. What you got, what do you know
Yeah.
of?
Yeah.
And then they bring that back to, I'd say through the select board or through, maybe even through the CIC committee, and we pass that on to the department head.
Yep.
And then
And
there's,
info the select board about it.
Yep.
Yeah, like a CC
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So everybody knows.
Yeah.
so that's kind of, I'll kind of do a workflow chart there. And then at any time, anybody can identify a grant, whatever. And then when it comes to researching the grant, that's the department head, I would think, researching and
Yeah.
just identifying, does this apply to what we're doing?
Mhm.
And then applying for the grant, primarily responsible, I would think the department head with the assistance of either an office assistant, our admin assistant, our town administrator, but whoever ends up assisting doesn't own it, and we need to make sure it's not,
So I think that to a certain extent is the responsibility of the select board. I think that once a department head identifies a grant, the ability, the resources that are needed to
It's
create
assigned by the
that
select board.
proposal, there are department
Yeah.
heads who have never touched a grant. They don't know how to write the proposal for a grant, and so they're gonna need support and they're gonna need help. It's their responsibility. They need to come before the select board and say, I wanna go after this grant, but I've never written a grant before. I don't really know what I'm doing. Help me, selectmen.
Yeah.
Help me with resources. And all the select board really has to do is figure out what resources we have available and dedicate them to the department head
Right.
and then get feedback.
Right.
They have to get a status update all the time to see how it's going and
I-
what any issues that they're encountering.
I agree, I think we definitely need to give them support, but I would also make a statement that if you are a department head, grant writing should be in your wheelhouse.
Job description.
Yeah, it's in your
If
wheelhouse.
it's not in your job description, we can't hold them accountable for it.
Right, no, I understand that, but I'm just saying, when you think about somebody being elevated to run a department, being able to write a grant would, in a department in a municipality, would be part of your. Just
So
saying.
I would venture to guess that only one of our department heads has experience in writing a grant, and that's probably Chief Hayford for the safety one.
No, I think Mike has a lot too.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, Brooks, yeah.
I think
Okay,
most
so
of the
those
department
two.
heads do, yeah.
I don't know that they do necessarily. I think that they're used
library
to,
does.
they're used to filling out forms, not writing a grant.
Right,
So two different things.
yeah, no, I understand.
But, so then that means that we may need to provide some training for them.
Yes. I agree.
Okay. So the next piece of it is, if I just captured it, year-round, everyone's identifying grants. It will come to the CIC to communicate back to the department head. Someone identified a grant. Does this open up a door for something you were gonna replace in 2 years? Or does this apply to equipment that that we have in front of us on the CIC in this year? But again, they should be also identifying grants. Then it's up to the department head to research the grant and then probably bring it to the select board, and the select board says, yep, go ahead and apply for it. And then the select board will then assign support for that person completing the grant. And then,
And get bi-weekly feedback every 2 weeks until that grant, every select board meeting between when they get
Grant
that grant
updates.
request and when it's due, there should be a status update in writing.
and then,
Just big on in writing.
Like correspondence, yeah, between the,
then BOS, reviews.
Yeah.
Every grant proposal.
Right, because you don't want a department head saying something in a grant proposal that now the selectmen have to, I don't wanna say enforce, but the selectmen have to enact, and it ends up requiring,
constraints we're not capable of
yeah,
in the language,
or
yeah.
it requires a town meeting kind of thing, so I think the select board, and the select board can create a subcommittee if it wants, to review those grants. and the proposals and make sure that it doesn't say something out of turn by mistake, or that there isn't a mistake in it.
So the next part on the timeline was, we got kind of August, they're finalizing their cost estimates, September, they're submitting everything to the capital improvement committee, and then September, October, we review all the capital requests, and then October, November, send them to the ABC. I think I'd like to have, some of that happen potentially even sooner than ABC getting it in October, or do you think the ABC
I think
would be comfortable with what the work the committee has done, reviewing the work of the department heads and the committees, this committee?
I'm trying to think like what work we're talking about so that.
So the proposals,
Right.
they'll, as part of the proposals, they'll give us any grants that they're requesting, sales that they're,
Yeah, it's
doing
basically
different-
that form.
yeah,
So really what you're doing is you're CCing the ABC on those forms.
and, well,
I think
CC
that that's-
review,
Yeah, and I think
and then
that
ABC review.
that's fine.
Okay. So ABC reviews capital and major expenditure proposals.
But I think that it's not in October and November. I
Right,
think
that's what I'm
again,
asking.
it's all year long.
Okay. But
As
but in
those-
terms of trying to meet this budget cycle for things due on, you
No
know,
later,
going
there
on
has
the
to be,
next
all of them
November.
have to be done no later than
Yeah.
October and November.
Yeah.
But they can be sent to the ABC, cause
right,
we take a couple months off right after the meeting, but we start to meet again in July and August, because there's too much work that has to be done for us to wait until November or December, the way, it says we have to meet no later than then, but
Right.
doesn't say we can't meet earlier, which is what we do,
and have been actually for
years.
years.
Yeah.
So ABC reviews, so it's kind of like final review by October, November, right? Because at that point, if it's, anything else is kind of cutting it close to the wire, or,
Well, cause anything else you need to include in a budget,
right,
so, or warrant articles as you're going through it, so having something done by mid-November, right, October to mid-November, gives the selectmen and the town administrator time to incorporate all of that.
and then November, December, selectmen receive the final CIC recommendations, ABC recommendations, and that's when we finalize the warrant, or is that in January?
Those aren't until January, I
Okay.
think.
Actually, the final vote on the warrants isn't until February, right?
Right, but she needs all, to be able to get it printed and all that kind of stuff done beforehand. It's
So,
in, last day negotiated cost items, and last day for petition warrant articles is January 13th.
so really by end of December, the BOS should have the CIC and ABC recommendations, and then warrant articles need to be drafted.
So our budget recommendations don't come until January. Because because we typically don't get the final updated budget till,
Then maybe it's submitted to ABC and BOS at the same time? Cause the BOS needs time to review it, process it.
right, and there
And
may be
then-
questions that we want people to come to the meeting to answer, so.
But I feel like BOS should also, I guess I don't want us to be held up. Like, I wanna make sure that the CIC committee gets everything to the ABC and possibly BOS maybe concurrently?
Sure.
Okay,
Should that be in November?
I think December is okay. I think December is the beginning of December, like now.
okay.
Okay.
So November, December is the CIC, submits the year's proposals,
Final proposals.
final proposals,
I mean,
and
we could be seeing draft ones earlier than that.
Yeah. submits final proposal and report / recommendations
Okay.
to, ABC and BOS at the same time. And then ultimately, just like with the budget, ultimately it's the BOS's responsibility to decide what goes on the warrant. Otherwise, folks would need to petition.
Right.
So then BOS determines the warrant. And then also, again.
And I would check that with Linda
Yeah,
to see.
Okay.
and then, okay, so that's January, BOS finalizes the warrant. And then, and then February is the official public hearing and the vote by ABC and BOS,
Yeah, that's usually mid-February.
Yeah.
This one is the
10th.
February 10th this year.
Okay, and then March town meeting votes. All right, I can also, I took lots of chicken scratch notes. I can, finalize those, at least that portion of it. Do you wanna go through the front half of the policy?
Oh, we should.
Is that okay, Tia? Do you wanna talk us through it, or do you want me to read it and we discuss?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So the front portion of it is just anything, it's kind of explaining why we need things over $10,000 to be on here and how we're gonna do that. So it's, kind of gives us more of a structure because we don't exactly have that now. But the number one is purpose. The policy ensures timely, coordinated, and transparent review of grant opportunities, capital improvement plans, CIP items, new projects, programs, and expenditures, requests for proposals, and quotes. And then this should be aligned with the March annual town meeting. And then number two, definitions, capital project, anything costing over $5,000 or more and having a useful life of over 5 years. Major expenditure, anything over $5,000. A new department or program is any new service or office not previously approved by town meeting.
All right.
I don't know if we need office. I think service is fine. Service or program.
So you wanna change that,
And
any new
then-
service or program? Change the word
Yeah.
office to program?
Yeah. And then number three, grant review.
Hold on.
Departments must notify selectmen of all grant opportunities early. And so as we're talking, I was making edits on this too, so it might look different than what you have printed. So I don't have a date for that. I just put in insert due date, but if it's ongoing and rolling, I have a second point that I put in there, select board adds agenda item at least every other week to review grants. I don't know, should I keep that as early as possible?
Well, in kind of talking about the timeline, like we said, everything, year round and stuff, but if they kind of have to commit, the final proposals have to be to the CIC by that kind of November time frame, and then tossing it over, so I feel like,
Yeah, but that's not when you want the BOS and the ABC to first find out that they're pursuing
Right.
a grant. So
right,
I would think that this one, departments
Yeah.
must notify selectmen of all grant opportunities, basically upon their discovery of them.
upon receipt, upon
Yeah.
discovery, yeah, I think that's good, that way we keep it
Okay.
open.
Right.
And then also they should,
Okay.
well, they should notify the select board, but also the CIC committee, right? Or is that just my job to, as the
As
CIC
the
rep?
CIC rep, you could,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
So we're not making them having to notify too many entities.
Okay. And then grants requiring matching funds, new commitments, or new staff must be reviewed by CIC and ABC prior to selectmen approval. I don't know if that
Selectmen approval of what?
is helpful. Before going to the select board for their final approval, so that but we're helping the select board and the ABC. I was just trying to make a flow, like, okay, so you get your approval to go forward with it, and then you fill out our cost analysis proposal, and you update your CIP, and we have the time to make recommendations on it,
Right.
and then it goes back to the selectmen.
I found a thing on New Hampshire Municipal Association that says, just regarding spending without an appropriation, or, you know, kind of off-cycle, off-budget gifts and grants. So someone had asked, the grant our town has been awarded requires the town to pay a share of the grant cost. Is this allowed kind of off-cycle? So kind of the answer was, you cannot accept a grant unless it is for a budget line for which the town already had an appropriation. So I suppose this allows for, we're going, you know, town meeting, we approve the purchase of, hey, we found a grant since town meeting, so that would be okay to go through because the town has already, you know, approved an appropriation, so they can accept a grant to offset it, is my understanding. But it sounds like if there's, it also has to do with defining the word purpose, that if it requires a match, that the town can't accept the grant until there's approval of the appropriation at town meeting. Let me read the full thing. So
Okay, that makes
Can you
sense.
forward it to us, though?
yeah. So RSA 3195-B, Roman numeral 4, parenthetical A, provides that the grant cannot require the expenditure of other town or village district funds except those funds lawfully appropriated for the same purpose. The statute does not define the word purpose, but that word is generally defined on another RSA, a goal or aim to be accomplished through the expenditure of public funds. Assume the grant described above for funding from the Violence Against Women's formula grant required the town to match the federal grant funds with a dedicated amount of time by a certified police officer to carry out the grant purpose. As long as the town had an appropriation for police salaries and sufficient funds in the budget to use for that purpose, the town could accept the grant.
Right.
In the absence of there being an appropriation in the existing budget for the expenditure of matching funds or in-kind services as required by the state, federal or private granting entity, the municipal could not accept the grant. So we need to be very mindful of that,
Well, I think what they're trying to avoid is you accept a grant for,
matching funds that then aren't approved at town meeting.
no,
Okay,
that you are not accepting funds for something like what they were saying about the safe haven type thing, and then you use it on trucks. Okay, they don't want you doing that kind of
well,
thing.
you couldn't anyway.
Yeah, you could.
Well, no, you'd
once
be
you-
you'd be in violation of the grant.
True, but they don't, once the money is in the coffers, they're not asking you, I sent you these specific dollars, and did you use them on that? So, they're also trying to make sure that you're looking for grants for things that you already had in mind, that you're not creating a new need and a new requirement just because you can get a grant.
Right.
So we should be a year out on this at least anyway. So if you have to go to the town and you have to go to the town at town meeting and ask for approval to go for the grant. And then you go to the select board and find the grant.
I'm not 100% sure of that. I think you can pursue the grant based on selectmen's approval. You just can't accept the grant without town approval.
I guess if it requires matching funds. So for example, with the
Right.
grant we just did, it requires us to basically contribute $110,000. That's kind of our match, is 30%.
But it doesn't, I would go back and read that grant. It doesn't require matching funds. It just says, I'm only gonna give you 70% of the cost.
It could be perceived as, that, well, 30% is still a town,
It's a town
Commitment.
contribution, but it's
Town
not a
commitment.
matching fund. A matching
No,
is one
but-
for one.
Right, but it's a commitment of town funds,
Correct.
which is, I think, the meaning of saying matching funds, is that it's a commitment of town funds. For example, if it were a matching grant. I think that's an example, not a definition. So in this
Yeah.
case, we had to commit to $110-ish thousand.
No, we didn't.
Well,
Oh,
I didn't mean, you know what I mean, not, we didn't have to, but in order to obtain the grant, there is a commitment of 30%, which is, in this case, $110,000. So my understanding is that we did not have town, it wasn't in the budget line for this truck, it didn't have a warrant article, that there wasn't a formal public body saying, we approve money for the purpose of. But at the same time, we might use the highway heavy equipment wording to say, this is for the purchase of
Correct.
equipment.
correct.
So we just have to be careful of that. And make sure,
Well, we just have to make sure that we have money in the budget in a line that would be appropriate if we didn't get the grant and we still wanted to buy the thing or
Yeah.
do the thing. There still needs to be, a funding source that would carry that out. So having a specific budget line that says a new Mack truck and the money was in there for that isn't necessary. If you go back to the example they used for the police force, it was just having salaries and wages and all of the requirements in the police line that you could then turn those police efforts toward that. I forget what the effort was, a safe haven for battered women, that you could do that. You would have to forego something else that maybe special details and things of that nature, but it's a very loose interpretation. It's not strict. It's not like you needed to have in your budget the fact that you were going to replace this truck. No, we have a heavy highway equipment fund
But
that
for our purposes, do we want to make sure that we have a better process for that? Like, if something's going to require, I mean, they came to the select board, and I'm just using the truck, because it's the most recent, but they came to the select board and said, we want to go for this grant. And it wasn't on a warrant article last year. I'm saying, do we want to flip-flop that and have things come before the town, before they before they go for something, because we're still committing that $100,000 of taxpayer money before the vote.
I think maybe we do end up clarifying either at town meeting that we get to say, you approved this fund to pay for repair, replacement, or whatever of equipment. It specifically is not for purchasing outright and new. It is for repairing and replacing equipment.
well,
So-
new is replacing.
No, you're purchasing a new, but not adding to the fleet. New isn't adding to the fleet.
Okay.
Um,
Additional. you
yeah.
mean.
yes.
Okay.
Expanding the fleet. Yep, so that maybe we just are very clear and make folks understand that whereby, having this fund, we are taking it as your kind of implicit permission, but we have to
Okay.
rein it in between the CIC and the ABC and the BOS as to how liberally that is used. But also, does the
Okay.
funding need to be in the ETF? Like, should we have had $110 before committing, $110,000 before committing to the grant?
No, I think
Yeah.
because you have the opportunity in March to add to the ETF.
Yeah.
That would bring it to the 100,000.
Right,
or-
right. So
Or we don't
I
need the
think
100,
that-
we would just need the down
Okay.
payment. Right, hypothetically, we would need a down payment, not necessarily the whole 110.
I don't know.
It's a catch-22 and we're kind of talking in circles,
Maybe we're willing to
but.
interest on that.
I know. I'm
Right.
trying to apply it to this, but I think that maybe we can't say specifically, but we do want to narrow in on that and make it more
Clearly
clear
defined.
that, yes, we're okay with the select board, you know, managing those monies for us, and just that we would like to get it to a point where we're doing more work ahead of time rather
Right.
than
Last
like,
minute.
oh, this just popped up, can we do this right now? And then people are surprised. So then, I guess for this point right here, maybe it doesn't have to come before the CIC or the ABC before the selection approval, but I think it might help them.
So here's kind of taking their example of the police thing. They're already planning on paying police officers, it's already in the budget to pay police officers.
Correct.
We just got a grant to offset.
Correct.
So it's not currently in our budget for $110,000 for a truck.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we
But
need
there's a-
clarification on that. You know what I mean? It's chicken and the egg. And we do wanna be able to plan ahead.
I like Alcia's suggestion to go before and say, we anticipate looking for a grant. We're not looking to replace a piece of equipment that we don't get a grant for type of thing, because we weren't looking to spend 400, whatever.
Can we approve it, if someone has a purpose, they know,
Yeah.
like, can we approve it for 2026?
Right.
Okay, if you have a grant of X amount of dollars, we approve you to,
Yes.
Well, you can
kind of
make it
incur that
contingent
cost.
upon the approval of a grant
yeah.
in the amount of, and if it tells you that it's
Percentage or
70% of your
something.
cost, you can calculate what that is.
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know,
Yeah.
we're approving stuff in 2026, but we should also be considering
2027.
approving 2027 stuff now.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's like we should go through and look at anything in 2027 and start looking at the grant. Now, if they're, or reaching out, not just looking, like, I reached out to, NHDES just to see if they had any arm grants for the dam, and they'll have a 2026 round, but it doesn't say that on their website, you have to reach out to somebody.
Yes,
But it's like, that's what we should be doing now for 2027, not 2026.
well, and that's what we said at the last meeting, when we mentioned the whole idea of the fact that there was another round of that Volkswagen grant, that we should be doing the work now
try
to
get-
set ourselves
Yeah.
up.
For that 2008 Peterbilt or whatever it is.
Right.
Oh, yeah, 2008, yeah.
All right,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I feel like if we kind of,
All right.
if we start looking at 2027 or looking at 27 stuff now and say, you have approval to accept a grant or to plan to purchase something and accept a grant for this thing that we're, you know.
Okay, that's way too nebulous, I have no idea what you're talking
All right,
about.
I'll write it up, I'll type it up, I have it in my head. Okay,
Okay.
I just think,
Okay.
no matter what, before anybody approves anybody going after a grant, there should be one of those proposal sheets that says what you're gonna do
Yeah.
with it, how you're gonna do it, where the grant's gonna come from, what you think you can get in the grant, what you're gonna ask for, cause the RFP said up to 70% of the cost, and so you indicate those things, because otherwise, what are you approving, you know? You're approving some nebulous concept kind of thing, and I
right.
think there needs to be a little bit more concrete to it.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, if we have on here 2027 purchases, we should be looking at,
Not we, they, the department heads
Yeah.
should
Yeah,
be
I-
looking at right
when I say
now.
we, I almost mean like the town hall.
Department heads. Department heads need to go
Yeah.
pursue those grants for that equipment that says
Starting with the stuff
2027
due 2027.
and even 2028.
Yep.
It's not too early to start looking at grants that might come open or might come, if they have one in 2027, but we're not due to replace it till 2028, well, maybe we move it to 2027 because there's a grant process that's open.
So I edited it to say grants requiring matching funds, new commitments, or new staff must have a proposal sheet and updated CIP to be reviewed by the CIC and ABC prior to selectmen approval, which really just is reinforcing that, hey, you have to have all your stuff ready to go. It has to go through the CIC, and the ABC, and we advise the select board.
Right, and that way we can counsel them on, well, this piece is missing, what does it say about this, before they get to the selectmen, because then that gives them all of the, I don't wanna say ammunition, but it gives them all the information that they need to plead their case, so to speak, to get selectmen approval.
Yeah, definitely. And if they don't have the proposal sheet and they don't have their CIP updated, then we really can't help them.
Right, send them back, get this fixed, get this finished, if you need help with it, let us know, we're happy to help,
Bring it back next year.
or
If you have
next
to,
month.
Yeah,
And I feel like in order to prevent these emergency purchases,
Right,
that we might be able to allow for exceptions if we define what's an allowable exception. For example, I feel like the grader would not have qualified as an allowable exception. I feel like this truck, this grant, would qualify as an allowable exception. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
Yeah.
we need to define
or we're replacing
exceptions.
something that works.
Exceptions and emergencies need to be clearly defined so that someone can't say a 40-year grader just collapsed. Oops, emergency.
No, cause you can rent it, but you
Yeah.
could also
right.
go down with your fleet, you can, for the year that it
Or you
takes.
could have
Yeah.
known it's 40 years old. 5 years ago, you could have been planning for the replacement of it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like from a historic standpoint, I would like to know, because we haven't added any roads, how many trucks we ran.
Well, we did though.
Banfield Hall, that's a
Yeah.
mile.
Oh, for
I
ban.
know.
Yeah,
Banfield, but we added road.
Yeah, but I would like to know how many trucks we owned in, let's say, 30 years ago and how many now, so we know how much is net. Like, that would be a great comparison.
That should be in town reports.
That's great, yeah. Oh, in the report,
Mhm, in the-
every truck is listed?
There's a fleet, there's a
Oh,
list of
I'm
fleet,
gonna
list
look
of
at
the fleet.
Yeah.
And it's funny, cause I remember going back through really old town reports, as kind of researching genealogy and stuff, and of like the town history. And it's typewritten, do you mean like old school typewriter, and it's,
Don't
it's like,
call it old school,
the
don't call it old school. I went to college with a typewriter, so.
Oh yeah, me too.
I think by the time I got around to college, I did have a brother word processor that even sometimes saved a document. But anywho,
Nope. Old.
but I did use a typewriter at my
I was
first couple
electric.
jobs.
It was an electric typewriter.
Yeah.
but-
Yep, we digress. I was still using electric typewriter in early 2000s, so, okay, at work.
They have one upstairs.
Alright, so final one for number 3, no grant may be submitted without selectmen review and approval if it creates ongoing obligation.
Yep.
Should that
Perfect.
be,
Well,
should I remove
I-
if it creates ongoing obligation?
No, I think
No.
just remove the word ongoing. If it creates an obligation to the town, then it should need selectmen approval.
Yep.
Even if it's a one-time purchase of $30,000 or whatever that we need to pony up. So this truck, this new truck with the grant will not create an ongoing obligation to the town, but it creates an obligation,
Yep, and because
Okay.
obligations need to be approved at town meeting.
town meeting.
I don't like how much discretion we use.
Okay. Number 4, capital improvement program. Annual updates, departments must submit updated capital needs to the CIC by September 1st each year. I like that, but
Yeah.
I don't know if the department heads will like that. But it will put us in a good place. If they already have their stuff done, we can help them review it. And we're seeing now, just getting this in order is taking us, bi-monthly meetings and, we're working pretty hard to get this organized. And I feel like if we have more lead time, we'll be able to get it in really good working condition, which is really what we want. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, 'cause I think that aligns with the 6 annual schedule, right?
Yeah.
Just
What's
kind
up
of,
with that?
so down in September,
September.
CIP submissions to the
Do.
CIC.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I changed the word from
And
must to
after
shall.
this year, they should be doing pretty well because most all of the departments have handed us their stuff. So it
What is
shouldn't be
that?
too hard for them
Hence.
to look it over in, July or August and then have it ready for us.
Yeah, I mean,
And then
they're
new
more than welcome to
projects.
submit them earlier so that we can review them and let them know whether or not we need more information, but they should be all submitted by September 1st.
And I agree very much with the next piece about the new projects. Because I feel like, we have things that are adding to this CIP that, we may not do it this year, but the select board, for example, definitely needs to approve that we're doing ball field
Ball
lights.
field lights.
The select board needs to
Pavilion.
approve that the fire department is looking to purchase an ambulance this year. Because the select board should be saying, what's your plan?
Right.
Like, so staffing, other expenses, how are we going to equip it if we purchase it? So I feel like that's definitely a decision for the select board as to, yes, we're going to pursue this. Even if it's a maybe, we'll think about it, but nothing goes for a warrant article unless like the select board has approved it.
Okay.
So I think
And
that's
then
excellent.
I was trying to put together a sequence, so selectmen approval, only if it's a new program or project.
I would call it expenditure. Whether it's a piece of
Or
equipment.
Because it could be a piece of equipment, right?
I would say anything for department program, we would just change to expenditure,
Yeah.
because this is a expenditure policy.
New expenditure, okay. Capital Improvement Committee, and then it would go to the Advisory Budget Committee, and then return to the selectmen for warrant placement. And then number 5, project expenditure procedure, initial submission, department must provide the purpose, justification, cost estimate, life expectancy, funding sources, and timeline. Really, that's just what's on our cost analysis, so that's the cost analysis.
Well, do you want to
This is purchasing policy.
just truncate all of that to say departments must submit a fully complete cost analysis,
Or
project
cost proposal.
proposal, or whatever we're going to
Expenditure
call
proposal.
it. Whatever we're going to call that form. That way you don't have to,
Proposed.
department heads.
Lay it all out.
Yeah,
Okay,
department heads
department
must submit.
Capital expenditure proposal.
Okay, submit project proposal sheet.
Fully
That's the initial, fully complete.
Capital expenditure sheet,
proposal
or whatever, capital expenditure proposal sheet.
form, yeah,
Okay, whatever.
Whatever. it's a form, it's to be completed.
Okay. All right, we got it. All right, RFP and quote requirements, any expenditure over $5,000 requires 3 written quotes. I don't think that's right.
This should just follow the
because of
purchasing
what I was-
policy,
Yeah, I would just,
What should it be?
it's a purchasing policy.
just say
Okay.
RFP and quote requirements shall follow the current purchasing policy.
Because honestly, the purchasing policy says if it's, between 10 and 15, I have it right here too.
Here it is. If it's between 1 and 10,
It requires a purchase rack.
but it doesn't require, if it's between 1 and 10, it doesn't require 3 quotes.
Okay, so maybe we should be, so we should have in
Maybe we
here, and we should update the policy too.
Right.
So that they're in agreement that expenditures over 5,000, require, I mean, honestly, I
From
would
five, yeah, I would put a
This should be
2A
5.
in there, put a 2A in there that says, and I think that this goods and services estimated to cost more than 1,000 will be at the discretion of the Board of Selectmen through submission of a purchase requisition by the department head. I don't think it says but less than, I think you take out but less than 10,000.
Yeah.
And then I think there's a 2A that says goods and services estimated to cost more than $5,000 shall be accompanied by 3 written quotes.
So I feel like the 10, cost more than 5,000, but then it looks like sealed bids is our threshold, is 15,000
It's
is our threshold.
15,000, right.
So goods estimated to cost more than $5,000, but less than 15 will require RFP and at least 3 vendors. And then they also would require CIC
maybe this could be included next to that sheet so that they can reference that, so any expenditure over 5,000 must follow the current purchasing policy. Goods and services costing over 1,000 need approval by the selectmen?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then RFPs must be reviewed with the CIC and ABC before selectmen approval. I don't think that's not right. I was just trying, in regards to the capital improvement program, I was thinking that we should review it first, but I don't know if that's entirely true.
The
Yeah,
RFP?
Because they still write to the select board, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just remove that.
well, if it's more than $5,000, they have to complete a CIC form. Or, right? So it's just a question of, they have to complete a CIC form, so yeah, does that RFP that they create get reviewed by the selectmen? This is a sticking point, because sometimes we hear, you have to trust your department heads, but then other times we hear, no, the select board is accountable for that.
Well, you have to trust your department head that they're doing the right thing, but the selectmen still should review it and stamp their approval
Alright,
to say that, yes, we've seen this, we agree with it.
alright, so we should,
So
so,
it's not like they're sending it to the CIC, they're not sending it to the CIC and we're not saying, oh yeah, go ahead. They have to go to the select board
Select
and
board.
get that approved.
yeah, so select board, yeah, select board, has to review, request RFPs before they're sent out. Before the department head sends them out, right? RFPs and grant proposals. And then once the,
So I could just say that the selectmen, I could just delete that line and say that the selectmen must authorize release of all RFPs.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. But again, that's purchasing policy.
Okay.
And you can say, as per purchasing policy,
Yeah, to some extent,
Okay.
you don't wanna repeat stuff that's gonna have to be updated in two places. But at the same time, you should definitely be very aware of what an update here affects there.
Okay.
So then do you not even wanna put this portion in? Take out the RFP and quote requirements and just put a line in that say, RFP and quote requirements will be as per the purchasing policy dated, most recent one dated, revision 08, whatever we're gonna get.
Revision 3, yeah.
It'll be 12 something maybe.
Version 4. Yeah, so, we will make a cross-reference, but things over 5,000 will require a CIC. And then it kind of hops over to the purchasing policy, and the purchasing policy says that things require a
But this
proposal
this just
form.
says 3 quotes.
Any expenditure, so that's wrong, so any expenditures over $5,000, follows the purchasing policy, but also requires a capital expenditure proposal form.
Where does it say that?
That's, we're gonna update, we're gonna say it here.
Here.
And we're also gonna say it here. That's something that is
So
worth
any
saying in two
expenditure
places.
over $5,000 are added to the CIP must follow the purchasing policy. And then do I need to add anything else?
I would, period, and then the next line would be, any expenditures over $5,000 must also submit a completed
Capital expenditure.
capital
proposal.
expenditure proposal form. To whom?
To, starting with the CIC,
Okay,
right?
I would think so.
CC the BOS. Yeah, then we kinda go back into this time frame.
Right, so then,
Yeah, like go here. Okay.
So this
So
basically
must also
works
submit
in
completed
conjunction.
capital expenditure proposal form to the CIP.
We basically need to state that for this section, work in conjunction with the purchasing policy, and the purchasing policy work in conjunction with the CIC.
Okay. Contract award, after receiving quotes, department heads must, present a summary and recommendation to the selectmen for final approval. I don't know if we even have to have this in here because it's going back to, that's what the select board does, like, we don't
when a purchase requisition is approved by the select board. Yeah, I feel like in my mind, I have to sit down and go through what I know the select board process is and what we're trying to develop as our CIC and kind of marry the two in my head before we,
Okay,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
because I'm not trying to take on more than we have a very specific task.
because, well, I feel like after
And I don't
receiving the
know if that was
quotes,
being wordy.
I feel like after receiving the quotes, they should update their proposal with the final quotes and stuff, and then they submit that with their purchase rec. With their final purchase rec.
Okay,
I don't know, just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
But the
so-
purchase rec comes, okay, if you're talking grants, the purchase rec doesn't come until after you've figured out whether or not you've received the grant, so you wanna know that information beforehand.
Yeah, it's that whole like that whole chicken and egg thing again.
Right.
Alright. Yeah, I feel like that's just a whole thought process that I can't do on the spot here. So,
And then number 6 is just, I've been updating it as you guys were talking, just so that it lines up with the different meetings that we have and the EDC and the select board meetings, and then lines up to March to the town meeting vote. Yeah. I think that gives us a start anyway.
absolutely.
And I don't know if this is something that we just adopt within our group here, or if does this have to go back to the select board to say, okay, yeah, that makes sense for your process?
I think if we're establishing a process that affects department heads and the board of selectmen with, things that they have to review and look at, I think we need them to concur.
Yes, agreed.
Okay. Okay. Do you want to look at this as it's been edited, look at it, and then we can come back to it for the December 18th meeting and approve it, or give us some time to make any further review and edits, and then
Yes, I feel like if
Let's do that.
I rewrite the purchasing policy, you finalize our edits to this, and
Okay.
we submit them BCC to each other, prior to the next meeting,
Yeah.
then that kind of makes those work together. And then a separate item is the disposal policy, which I feel is kind of tied closely to both as well. Because the disposal policy should require postings in certain places, notifications in certain places, and then determination how that money, that's the sale money, is going to be used. Is it just disappearing into the general fund, or is it going into the ETF to purchase the next thing?
I think you need to check RSAs to
Yeah.
find out.
I thought we clarified at the last meeting that it has to go to the general fund.
I think so too.
It'd be nice if it was a.
But it doesn't mean
But
that
then we
once
need a warrant article to put it into an ETF.
we can at the end of the year take it out of
think we
the
should.
unexpended fund balance, because it goes into the general fund. The issue is that once it goes into the general fund, other things can happen to it. Because it's in the general fund, at the end of the year, before we get to our final obligations, department heads can petition to use that, like we did for, I'm not saying we did it wrongly or we shouldn't have done it, but to purchase the defibrillator and to fix the truck, the pump, the water pump on the tank truck, and something about flooring. There was like $8,000 in flooring. We moved or used, obligated $80-something thousand at the end of last year in order to allow those
Yeah,
three
that's not
things to
right.
happen. But if that $80,000 is there because we got a grant, sold, turned in a truck, sold a truck or whatever, and got that money and it went into the general fund, when it should have been for use by the DPW for a different truck or something, then, yeah, we have to have, yeah, you have to have the ability as selectmen to put caveats on the money that goes into the general fund.
If it doesn't break an RSA.
If it doesn't break an RSA, right. And it may just be a gentleman's agreement, if you will, by the selectmen sitting at the table that says, this is what this money came from, this is what this money's supposed to be used for. So
Yeah.
that there's no slush fund.
It has to do with the revenue side of things
Right.
And even
that
when
we
we
don't always
encumber,
look at.
and even when we're encumbering, I assume that still has to align with the purpose.
Well, it does align with the purpose,
I know,
but the purpose is very generic.
No, I mean any encumbrance we take.
Yeah,
Because
it's still aligned with the budget line.
I know, I just think when we encumbered a police vehicle, where was it was not in our budget and we did not have a warrant article for a police vehicle.
No, 'cause they saw that there was-
$43,000
There was money in the thing, weren't gonna have to do the warrant article. It was gonna save us from doing the warrant article.
But that broke our purchasing policy, am I
Yes,
right? Yes,
it did.
okay. So that's
So
where, that all comes
encumbrances-
back down to that, so that doesn't happen again.
Right.
And what that is.
He's hanging signs,
Oh, chief is hanging a sign?
yeah, it's the stapler.
Alright, so they're all kind of
Oh, I can see it.
intertwined, right? We
So
have
it's breaking
intertwined the
behind.
purchasing policy, the CIC, their capital expenditure policy, and a disposal, kind of a equipment disposal, I don't know what to call it.
We don't have any,
We don't have equipment
we don't
disposal
have an
policy.
equipment disposal policy.
Yeah, so that's what we're kind of talking
We need to
about.
at least lay out perhaps the rudimentary foundation for that.
Yep. So I feel like, first is like requirements for posting it.
Well, I think before that, there needs to be a decision by the selectmen that yes, we're going to get rid of it.
True.
Well, this grant says all the.
Right, and
Yeah,
was
that's
it
a little
purchased with
different.
a grant, and does the grant have any stipulation that when it's reached its usable life, what happens to it? Like,
This grant does. You
This
have to
grant-
cut it up,
no, we have to cut up the current vehicle.
yes.
Right, but it's not saying anything about what we do when we go to dispose of the new vehicle.
Oh, no.
Right. But some of them do.
Yeah, oh, okay.
So
Like we had to return, when at the OBS, we had to return some things that we bought with federal funds. Those pieces of equipment were turned into the federal government.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like, so step one is that the BOS has to approve the decommissioning or disposal of any capital expenditure.
Or changing.
Or
it-
existing,
Or
'cause-
changing its commission to.
No, I mean anything that's already on like a CIP, like if we have a backhoe on the CIP and it's kind of broken, but we think we can get money for it, that the BOS has to agree for the disposal or decommissioning of that piece of equipment.
probably both, decommissioning and disposal.
Right. So,
Or moving a vehicle from one department to another.
but then what qualifies for BOS approval is something that qualifies to be on the CIP.
CIP.
Cause I don't think we need to approve the decommissioning of, I don't know, a $2,000 soccer
A
net.
lawnmower?
Lawnmower, a push lawnmower. Not that we have any push lawnmowers, I think. But anyway, so like what's our threshold? My thinking is the threshold is probably the threshold that puts it on the CIP.
Initially, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think
We
we
can
can
think it out.
ponder it and figure
Yeah.
out if there's other things that are not on the CIP that we would decommission and or dispose of, like computer equipment. Computer equipment's not on the CIP. If we're gonna get rid of computer equipment, cause we're gonna,
Yeah. So we have to define the disposal policy. Okay.
yeah,
So it's not items on the CIC, because we
it's
definitely
not
make sure.
just items on the CIP.
Yeah. So it's CIP plus computer equipment, boilers, I don't know. Okay.
Anything with a residual value,
Well, and also with computers, it's a matter of
Right.
security. We have to make sure that we're destroying the hard
That is-
drives and stuff.
or they're wiped correctly.
I would assume the new installer would offer that service.
So, So I think anything that is on the CIP and or would have a residual value at its end of life,
Or security reasons.
it needs to be guided by the disposal policy.
Okay. In a way, okay, and then so the step one is that the POS approves it, and if these qualify, then the requirements for posting it, we have to set up requirements that it has to go on. If it's not a site that requires you only to list it with them, list it on 3 sites kind of
Yeah.
thing, and then the department head, and maybe we even set a minimum threshold and we will not sell it unless we get blah blah blah. If we don't get blah blah blah, we try again in a month or 2 months or something. I don't know.
Well, you can set a minimum threshold as appropriate.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there one currently?
A disposal policy?
Nope. I don't
Yeah.
think so.
No, there's not.
Okay, I didn't know if I missed it.
Yeah, no, it's been said that stuff, gets kind of set up at the lower garage, kind of off to the side, and that's kind of there.
With a for sale sign on it.
Well, no,
Sometimes.
yeah. Alright, so once it's, so does the select board, I would think, needs to approve the sale too, right? Or they just give their complicit, understood, whatever, approval. I don't know, we have to think about that one. And then,
Well, I think you have to approve the sale because you gotta sign the paperwork anyway.
true,
Title or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
and
Unless
then,
Linda signs it, I think she must sign it all. I don't think we sign truck titles and stuff, do we?
Not the titles necessarily, but
But that's
maybe
what
the
goes
bill
with
of
the
sale kind of thing.
yeah, bill of sale. Then the next part is, where does the money go? It probably goes to general fund, but then we see if we have options to, create warrant articles or something.
I think as long as it's in the
Or
selectmen's
policy.
meeting minutes, that this is what this money is for, you have a paper trail that you can go back and say, you can point to the minutes and say, no, look, back in the June meeting, it was discussed and it was decided by the selectmen that this money, while it's going into the general fund, would be used for da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, it's called earmarking, and I don't know, it's a tough, that's a gray area where it just gets
And maybe we don't lock it in, but we just say, we intend to.
We intend,
intentions.
right.
We intend to use the sale of the backhoe to purchase a new backhoe. Therefore, we will transfer at the end of the year, the money from the general fund, the
Yeah,
monies received from the general fund
That's,
into the highway heavy equipment ETF.
that's the part you have to look up the RSA,
Right.
the
Yeah.
transfer of that into the ETF, I would think.
Yeah.
And that can be done via warrant article.
After, but we're trying
Yeah.
to make it like, what, more seamless, like the money came in, it went to the ETF, cause that's how it's gonna go from now on, but I don't know if that breaks a
Yeah, I think everything
state
has
law.
to go into the general fund,
Right.
so then it's just,
Do you have to wait for another
Do we
meeting
have a
to move it?
general
We might have to wait for
RSA, or
town.
do we have a general warrant article that says,
the town has permission to.
yeah,
move.
the selectmen have permission to move money from?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to figure
general
out, does that
government.
break
So
any
is that a
rules?
policy, is that a warrant article
I would,
for RSA's?
I would think the town has to vote on the selectmen's ability to do that. And if there's money that's created based on specific sale and disposal of equipment with a specified purpose, then you might be able to do that. I don't know,
Alright.
that might be a Cordell question.
It might be, yeah.
Alright, so I think we've got disposal policy, BOS approves of it, we determine the requirements for posting it, perhaps a minimum threshold. The BOS approves the sale, signs the bill of sale, we know the money will go into the general fund, and then either a warrant article or a policy that establishes ongoing permission for the select board to then,
Yeah, I'd be more comfortable with a warrant article than a policy.
so each year, we have to do a warrant article.
No, you could do a single warrant article that authorizes you in perpetuity.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, like a
Right.
warrant article, a
Yeah,
general
but you
warrant
were-
article.
You,
I was trying to say policy or open-ended warrant article to give the select board.
the authority.
Yeah, the authority to move purchases but it also makes sure that we're moving that we are using that money.
The way it
to
was
the-
intended.
Yes,
Yes.
we can't, just at our discretion that.
Well, that's why it goes into an ETF.
Right, but just saying that, the select board can't at the end of the year say, all right, we sold this, we decided we're gonna do ball field lights with it instead.
No,
Like the
right,
policy would have to define sale, then goes back into,
right. At the time that the sale, or at the time that the grant or whatever is received, there is a distinguishment that says this money, at the end of the year, we're gonna move this money to this ETF because it's for use as a result of this truck sale.
yeah.
I'm not finding that online either for an RSA.
Right.
And it's saying it all happens at town meetings.
All right, I think we've got our outline for the disposal policy. And again, I'll kind of cross-reference with the purchasing policy and stuff and the CIC, just because the CIC should also, whatever we decide the disposal policy is, the CIC should also tie into that and say, make sure that that's tied into kind of the proposal, is that the sale of this will fund the replacement,
Right.
and then the disposal policy makes sure
That's
that
how
the
it
funds
happens.
just, okay,
Transfer.
all right. Cool, I feel like we hammered out
All
like
right,
3
did we
policies.
make enough policies this meeting?
I think we did,
Okay.
and I think we kind of banged them out, like, I think we had kind of a clear thing in our mind as to what we wanted to do, and I feel like we just kind of, and then wove the 3 together. All right,
I like it.
enough self-congratulating, okay. Another item that I had was, the roads, so I'll report as the selectman that, the DPW director came before the select board with their road improvement plan for the next 2 years. I don't quite understand it, but the plan is for, and we have, we kind of have been tracking the kind of warrant articles, the annual road warrant article, we have had that in the CIP. Because it requires like $500,000 of funding apparently at this point. So we were proposed to have 3 separate warrant articles that add up to $420,000 for road improvements. I don't understand the prioritization, so that's I think a discussion for the select board to have. But then the next year was discussion of a $1.5 million bond with $300,000 interest for road improvements in one neighborhood that I drove through, and I don't understand why it's being approached that way, and I believe that there is basic road maintenance within the town that we need to be doing before we commit to a $1.5 million bond with $300,000 interest for pavers to come in and
Not paved, it wasn't for paving, right?
no, it was for
It was for
The
chip
hu-
sealing.
Chip
the
sealing.
$420,000 was for chip sealing, but
Oh,
I feel like the $1.5 million bond for Carved and Bark and East Shore Drive are,
Well, where's the written explanation for what this New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank?
so we have from the DPW a map, they color coded a map
I'm
as
gonna
to.
stop you right there, I'm gonna go back. Where is the written discussion as to what's required and why they're gonna request $1.8 million in basically road bond when you count the $1.5 million bond and the $300K in interest? Where is the DPW's written
So the
justification?
only thing we received,
It's right behind you
Was-
too, if you want a big version.
oh,
I hung
yeah,
it up.
thanks.
It's
Was
that
this
rolled
map-
up piece of paper.
Oh, what we received, oh, I'm not tall enough to pull that down. Oh,
No, it's
there
on
we
a
go.
clip.
Oh, I can't reach up like that, my back twinges, okay. So,
Everybody okay?
Yeah,
so we have this map. Asia, do you wanna zoom in on the map?
Yes,
So folks playing along at home. So this is what was presented at the BOS, thank you for leaving it here. Nicole. So this is what presented by the DPW director to the BOS of road priorities for the next 2 years. I don't know if you can see pink and purple, and I think there's a blue somewhere, are planned, oh, there it is, thank you, are planned for 3 separate warrant articles. One warrant article highlighted in pink is for roads to be chip sealed, one of them double chip sealed. They are East Madison Road from Pound to Madison Corner, which is what was paved 2 years ago, I think. There's a portion of, the paved portion of Pound Road to be chip sealed, paved portion of Colby Hill we just rebuilt. Danforth Lane, Greenwood Road, Heritage Road, Peak Vista Road will be double chip sealed. So that's a $134,000 warrant article. The purple roads are roads to receive a 1.5-inch overlay pavement, and that's a paved portion of Mooney Hill and a paved portion of Town Line Road, totaling $160,000. Looks like, another purple, looks like the purple one has been added to the blue one, where we have,
No,
road to be, well, it says total 160, but then the next line is road to be ground and then paved.
total 100.
160, but,
No, total 100 here for this second purple Deer Drive,
okay,
100.
got it, thank you.
Yep.
So, road to be ground, then paved with 2.5-inch base and 1.5-inch overlay is Deer Drive, which is over in Carved in Bark, I believe. And then crack filling with routing on High Street for 3 days, 25,500. So the total pavement work to be put out to bid for 2026 warrant articles is $420,200. And then the proposal for 2027 is to redo these roads in Brown, which is Carved in Bark, and East Shore Drive. And the anticipated cost of whatever, we don't have a definition of exactly what work is to be done. Are we completely grinding them down, repaving them? Are we
Why
chipping
would
and
we
resealing?
do that if we're already doing Deer Drive
Right,
for
$100,000.
$100,000?
So we don't have a broken down list like we do for the 2026 warrant article. The only thing we received, which I believe was discussed with Selectman Price, Selectman Bowie, DPW Director, and Linda as Town Administrator, was the impression I got that they had a conversation proposing a $1.5 million bond, New Hampshire Municipal Bond back for 2027, to do undefined work on Carved in Bark and East Shore Drive.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
No, I'm sorry, I had it backwards in my head, actually. I thought the chip sealing and crack filling was in Carved in Bark when we were,
Okay, no,
Yeah.
we haven't received any definition of what.
what the work
what's-
is.
yeah, what
the work
Okay,
Just
so
what's
the
that's what,
100
that's what I heard. But I'm going to revisit those roads with that other chip sealing, crack filling in mind.
So,
So there's no pavement being brought forth this year?
no full paving jobs, no,
Or
just
even a
these.
partial road by outsourced paving, not our own?
Yeah, we always do.
We do own our own paving equipment.
Not all of it.
Oh.
Some
No,
of it
but
we
I mean,
rent.
we could do part of it, we
Right.
could do part.
You know, I just made an assumption that it was gonna be outsourced,
Yeah.
because we tend to outsource
We
the
would
paving piece of
yeah,
it.
we would outsource big sections, but for patching, I'm saying we have.
So yeah, so some of these sections are 1,900 feet, 3,022 feet.
2,800 feet.
Yeah. So they're all over
415 feet.
881 feet. Most of, except for those two, most of them are between 1,500 and 3,400 feet.
So at the bottom, it says total pavement to be
Work
put
to be
out
bid
to bid.
It says to be put out
Are
to
you
bid.
saying that there
Okay,
would
yep, there we
be
go.
more expenses because it would be our town force doing some work too?
I don't think
Again.
we know
We don't know.
what's done internally versus what's put, so, you're right, all of this is going to be put out to bid.
The 2026 chip
Okay.
sealing and
Yeah.
crack sealing.
So where that comes into the CIP committee and why that's relevant is that, there was a road CIP, that was created by a previous DPW director, and, our current DPW director was updating it. But he seemed to say if I understood it, Nicole, at the last meeting, that he was no longer going to be updating or maintaining the road CIP because you just can't plan these things.
I don't, oh, here's my copy. This must be it, right? Colored?
Yeah.
That's what you were reading, okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering, I'm like, all of a sudden, that just didn't look familiar to me, and I'm like, why didn't I have that corresponding information? But,
So you do
So
have that.
it's maintenance, like chip sealing is for maintenance, right?
Yeah,
yeah, adds longevity.
On top and not for maintaining the road.
Yeah, and as
So-
Nicole just said, chip sealing a road adds longevity to that road. You're able to ward off having to redo the entire road for much longer if you chip seal it on a periodic basis.
And it's also an excellent bond between the original layer and the next layer
Layer.
to put on.
so,
Okay,
so
so
we,
I feel like that's something that you can plan for.
Yeah, we did, that's right here, that's the chip sealing, right?
Yeah. And again, we need to know the exact plan for Carved and Bark. I hate the idea of a $1.5 million bond with $300,000
Not a
interest,
fan.
in case you hadn't noticed. Not a fan of that approach, and not a fan of doing those roads until we've performed, after speaking with multiple people, until we perform the maintenance on the edges of it, because there's gravel berms on almost every road in Carved and Bark that is making,
Shedding.
yeah,
It's preventing the shedding of the water.
yeah, so the water can't just go go diagonally off the road and into the ditches that exist. This gravel berm is having the water, almost like a
back on
half
the
pipe,
road.
stay back on the road, and you can see where the edges of the road softened and crumbled pretty badly in some places. But it's only a few places, and the main road itself there's one road that needs a little love, and that may be that Deer.
Yeah, I
Deer
think there
Drive
was like
section?
2 or 3 identified, maybe, I would say they were about, I didn't get out and measure, but 15 feet by 4 feet or 5 feet that need a saw cut patch. But I didn't see any significant, they're definitely cracked. Maybe they could be chip sealed, I don't know if they're beyond that eventually, but I would say that the town would need to do their due diligence first for a year and patch all the holes, patch all the potholes,
Get rid of all those gravel
and then
berms,
do
clean
all
out
the
the
edges.
ditches.
clean all the ditches, and then see where we are then, and
Yep.
then maybe break the project down, because none of the roads are in bad shape. I mean, most of us
Except
in
for
the
the
room live on
edges.
East
I was gonna say East
Madison Road.
Madison
And
Road
I was
might not
like,
be in.
I've been down East Shore Drive 3 times since Friday, since Saturday, and not even a bump. I went Peak Vista, I'm all for getting some longevity by doing some maintenance, for sure,
Right.
but I'm not, I don't know about going in that huge neighborhood and repaving when it is
Well-
just not time, doesn't seem like it's time.
And I am in favor of the 1.5 inch overlay pavement on Mooney Hill because that was never finished.
Right.
The 1.5 inch overlay was never put on that road, and so the longer we wait to do that, the more chance we have of basically tearing up what was already done.
And
Right.
same thing with the East Madison Road to Pound Road and up. We did that 2
Doing
years ago,
Chip
but,
seal, yeah.
yeah, but I don't think we ever did the, wait a minute, chip sealing, but those roads were just done.
Yeah, it seems premature to me. I'm not against the chip sealing, I wanna get the most out of it. I think the ditches need to be better maintained and the shouldering first. But the chip sealing, I don't know, it seems early to me.
Yeah, and
But
we did do
that's
the
not-
overlay, we did do the overlay on that like the year later, on East Madison, on
Okay,
that
yeah.
section from Madison Corner up Pound Road.
Yeah.
We did do the overlay, so yeah, why are we chip sealing like a year after we did the overlay?
And Peak Vista, I would have to see it without snow. The only time I saw it was without snow, did not feel one bump in the whole thing, but I only saw it with a film of snow on it.
So yeah, I don't understand why we're abandoning the road CIP, I don't understand why East Madison Road, I asked multiple times what's happening with East Madison Road, what's the plan for it?
Wait a minute,
I did not get
who
an
made the
answer.
decision to actually abandon the road CIP?
I don't know, there was,
What
well,
is that
I just,
noise?
that's my ring. So, I don't know if it was said we're not going to do it anymore, but it was a, I don't see the point in it kind of thing, I'm not sure. But
Well-
I feel like,
Don't the selectmen have the ability to go back to the director of the DPW and say, no, you're gonna continue to do a road
I-
CIP, and if you need help in doing that, then let us know, and we'll see if we can't find resources to assist in that.
I'm gonna say that the CIP never made sense to most people.
the road CIP?
Yeah, right, because we didn't know what those colors meant.
No, we
Correct.
did, there's a key right at the bottom
it
as to
is.
what those
Okay.
colors mean.
But there's no definition to the key.
Yeah,
That's the issue, and so then you're the DPW director, take a look at it and make the definition. If something is in, and people will either agree or disagree with your definitions. But if you say something is a priority one, and that means that it's, or if it's green and it's in great road condition should mean less than 25 potholes with,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. Make a definition
Right,
so that we can use that, and then you can start with that, create those definitions, and then go back and look at your roads and see, do they still meet the definition of what I said was green, blue, yellow, and red,
Right,
right? I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand how we're saying this is too hard to do.
so.
I mean, all of this other stuff to the right of this, I'm okay.
Page two is the next.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, not even page 2, but
it's the second.
and everything past the name, the group, the dimensions, and the square yards, that's DPW business, okay? That helps them. What helps the town and what helps the selectmen and what helps the ABC is those first 4 columns that give you an idea
yeah,
of
how mine would be.
what's a priority and what's not a priority. And then, as it comes up, we get an updated cost. For all these roads that are green, I don't know that we need any costs in here. Because they're
Yeah.
green right now.
Yeah,
As they start to turn to yellow, then
Yeah.
maybe it's like, hey, we're gonna look at chip sealing these to turn them back to green for the next 5 years.
yeah,
And this is what the chip sealing is gonna cost, or the crack
Right.
sealing, or whatever you're gonna do. Other towns manage to do this, the state manages to do this.
Yeah.
They understand how to do it. You can't tell me that you just can't plan for these things.
yeah.
That's an abdication of responsibility.
Well, I think that there's parts of, East Madison Road even that are in okay shape, they do definitely need the.
They need some help.
They definitely need, no, the whole thing needs to be attention on the sides. Cause what goes on the sides affects exactly what goes on in the middle. There's a part in front of my house and my neighbors down that, in my opinion, should be saw cut, re-gravelled, because it's failing. You can see what is underneath is failing.
It's getting worse.
It doesn't have the proper structure underneath, and it.
And what'll happen is in the next big storm, it'll all get underwashed and
Yeah.
it'll look like 113 did.
But I would
'Cause
like
that all
to see
washed out.
some more heavy duty like patching from our own DPW, taking the bull by the horns and bringing in the gravel, and just doing those sections to get a little bit longer life out of a big, the longest, the most heavily abused road in our town.
Right.
Most expensive road in our town. And so if I look back and I compare East Shore Drive to East Madison Road, I mean, I was with 2 people that live on East Shore Drive, they're like, what's wrong with our road? They don't even know. They drive it every day, and one lives at the very end and one lives halfway, and they're like, what? Our road is fine,
And there are grates at the, kind of bottom of ditches. They're completely engulfed in leaves. So yeah, I don't wanna.
thought it was our procedure to get all those leaves out of there in November when we thought all the leaves were down. That in November, before snow starts to fly in early part of
Well,
December.
there's
We've had early snow this year,
3
but
different areas to clean. There's the ditches that run along most sides of the walls. The only place that we don't really have proper ditching is when you're up against a stone wall. You could still make a little something so that the water
they
makes
could
it to
rip
the
out all
next
the trees
section.
like they did on Pound Road and
Yeah.
make a whole new.
Or something, and then then you have culverts that need to be cleaned. And typically, they've said it in other meetings that the homeowner, if the culvert goes under your driveway, you are responsible for cleaning it. So you shouldn't be blowing your leaves into the ditch line or into your culvert. And then the third thing is the drains that Joy just mentioned.
Right.
Should also be cut, so there's 3 areas to keep clean of all debris.
Right.
And it should be ongoing all the time.
Right, and you can prioritize them, like the ditches or the culverts that have the drains in them,
Yeah.
they're number one. You
Yeah.
need to get those drains clean and free, so that the water can run through them, run down those drains and out to where it's supposed to go. And then the next one is the culverts with the leaves and stuff in it. And then the last one is the ditches like on the side of my road where there's
Ditches everywhere.
just ditches, right.
As it should be, because most roads are
Could we
crowned.
make a recommendation to keep the highway CIP going?
Yeah. Yep,
Okay.
we need to keep it going.
Do we
Paved
need to
road,
vote on that, or just,
we can, if you want. That way it's sort of official, that it's an official recommendation from this committee.
yeah,
I-
I think so. I think it'll help the select board and just keep it going, even if it's those 4 first columns that you said. So I'll make a motion to vote to keep this in place.
To recommend to the select board that it be
I
kept.
second.
Right.
Yeah, to recommend to the select board to keep it in place.
So Sharon seconds,
Yep.
roll call vote,
Schilling, aye.
Joy, aye.
Yeah,
Alright,
yeah. Because this will help us too, especially if it's that much money. We're such a huge bulk of this is our roads and the equipment that we use to maintain the roads. And I feel like if we don't have a good handle on what we need to maintain,
Yeah.
what's the point? Then we're kind of flying blind. Like we
Yes.
should know, they go hand in hand.
alright,
And then there's no, you can't do any forward planning. You're in crisis mode the entire time. You're constantly going to
Yeah.
be stuck in crisis mode where you got to fix the problem as opposed to working to mitigate the problem ahead of time.
Yeah.
alright, so the
I
next,
mean, what can we do about the proposed warrant article here? Because we don't really have a
folks,
say in this, do we?
No, but you can make a recommendation to the ABC, and the ABC does have a vote.
yeah, the ABC and the select board are the 2 entities that publicly vote to approve or not each and every money-based warrant article. And, those votes go into the warrant itself.
Mm-hmm.
So when we go to town meeting, it says select board 3-0 approved it, ABC
5-0.
5-2-1, whatever, yeah.
You're
Oh,
five
yeah, we
people.
have 5 now, there we go.
So yeah, so
Who the hell
those
did that?
recommendations are contained right at the bottom of the warrant article, each individual warrant article. It says that the ABC recommends or does not recommend, and the Board of Selectmen recommend or do not recommend.
So
And-
to help the DPW director with this, I think, of course, keep your CIP going for keep track of what roads are in what condition. And then also explain to us, like, why does Peak Vista Road need a double chip seal? Like, we're not pavers, we would like a written explanation of what that means, a little bit more, and why. Like Nicole is saying, East Madison Road seems fine, Pound Road, I drive it every day, seems fine. Maybe there's something that we don't understand just as the driver, as to why this needs to happen now, or as in Carbon Bark, what we definitely need more information on the $1,795,000 thing here. Like I realize it's over 10 years, but
No, this,
We pay it back over 10 years.
we pay it back over 10 years.
Yes, it's a
We're
10-year
doing all of the work at once. I think.
Correct, it's
Yeah.
a 10-year bond.
so you can see, on the left, it says debt year, and the third to last column says calendar year total payment. So in order to do $1.5 million work, we're paying $213,000 including interest for year 1, $196,000 year 2. Again, like this is half of what we would spend on a warrant article, but we're stretching it out over 10 years and paying interest.
I feel like it would prevent any other
So,
road from getting paved out.
So we ask for the warrant now for the bond and then pay it out over the.
They were
Right.
talking about having the work done in 2027 or doing the bond in 2027, so we have time a year to think about whether or not that's how we want to approach it.
Right.
But I feel like if there's something we want to incorporate into the warrant this year, such as setting aside 1/3 of that.
Did we happen to get with that, proposal, the full total miles of paving that would be included in
With
the
the-
1.5
With
million?
the, we
No,
didn't get
we have
any,
nothing.
you have nothing, you have this one sheet.
I would like to know how many miles that.
Right, yeah, that's what Sharon said, what's the,
There just needs to be a little more information, or that's
Not a
what I would
little,
suggest.
I would say a lot.
to-
Needs to be a lot
Yeah.
more information. If you wanna convince the taxpayers in this town to take out a $1.5 million bond with a $295,000, ostensibly $300,000 interest payment to it, you need a lot more information and rationalization and justification to the taxpayer to do that. Cause it's gonna cost them 10 years of paying this back. And these are the rates today. These were July 2025 rates. They're not January or March or July of 2026 rates. We don't know what's gonna happen then. It could be more by then. It could be 400,000 in interest.
so,
So, yeah, probably when was the last time it was paved? It seems like they have some structural issues they need to address on the side, on that second report that they put together, which is very helpful. The pictures of what kind of work they have to do.
I'm confused because,
But maybe
look
there are
pictures.
alternatives
what was that to
to
you?
completely alternatives to completely repaving it. I'd like to see like a couple different options, not just that one
Right, and I'm just
One
noticing now that
bond that they.
the bond itself
But
said this interest rate we received July 2025.
Right.
So this wasn't specifically for these roads. Was this the bond that they were kind of thinking about for the dam? And they're just using it as an example? Because
No, this was date prepared is 11/25/25. Here, date prepared.
okay,
But the New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank used
Last week.
rates from,
what day was our meeting?
It was. Gotta pull up the calendar.
was 2 weeks ago, basically.
No, it was
Yeah.
last Tuesday. There's the calendar.
It wasn't 2 days ago, it was a week ago Tuesday.
Which was the 25th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you,
got it.
you had the meeting on the 25th?
Yes.
You didn't move it for Thanksgiving?
No.
Okay.
We moved a previous meeting from Veterans Day to the Monday, but
Yeah.
this was regularly scheduled Tuesday.
All right, so it was the same day that you had the meeting?
Yeah. All right. Are we good if we move past roads? I just wanted to. So we've got some
yeah,
action.
I think we just need to know, I don't know how we suggest that, we would like more information.
Can I help you?
Um,
Oh,
Okay.
you can just knock on the door.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Knock, we might need to knock louder. Chief was,
He was in there. Say hello loudly, maybe. Chief? Is he there? Oh, somebody's there.
All right, all right, so so we just voted to maintain the road CIP and I need to, tell that to the BOS.
and that we're looking for written explanation regarding the $420,000 and definitely more info on the 1.5 million, including how many miles of roads does this cover?
Yes.
No.
And Tia mentioned pictures.
Pictures.
Tia
Oh.
says she has pictures, I
Oh.
wanna make sure they're not your pictures. Or, where'd she get pictures? I didn't get any pictures.
No, I sent Tia some of my pictures.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright, I just wanna make sure it was,
Yeah,
she knew.
no, I
was
sent it
going on.
as kind of part of
Yeah.
our packet,
presentation,
I
yeah.
guess, some pictures, yep. Okay,
a windshield survey.
Yes,
Right.
that was us.
all right, so next, it came up at the last BOS meeting, about the police department and their, the boiler room also holds the evidence and
Is there evidence lockup? Yeah.
gun locker or something, or the firearms.
Yeah.
So police, and with 4 police, we need more space. So there was just kind of initial thought process of giving the police either all of this downstairs or somehow expanding, because we don't need all this hallway space down here.
It's way.
So maybe we, bump out that wall up to the stairs. Do you know what I mean? Like just something to give
There's a
them,
door over there, I don't know what it goes to.
That door goes into the archives that are technically actually outside the perimeter of the building. You need to talk to Mike Brooks. That's where he puts all of his town archive
So worst case
files.
scenario, you'd have to walk through the police to get to that door.
Either that or you'd have to move them somewhere else.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they could use that if it's reinforced,
there is
because it's supposed to withstand fire and that kind of stuff. It's reinforced, then maybe that's where he puts his evidence.
there's also like a small office right there that was given to the rec director that she doesn't use.
Right here?
Yeah, I think right there,
Oh,
I think.
There's an office.
And one of these is the boiler, and I don't know if these are both, one might be server room, one might be boiler or something, so I'm not quite sure how those line up. But either way, just kind of, we requested, and then Mad TV, this is kind of what prompted it too, is that Mad TV had come before, trying to get them the heck out of the lower DPW garage.
it's a bad idea to be there.
They had an air conditioner that failed, teaching us that the air conditioner was on an interior wall into the garage itself. So that's so that's an OSHA hazard, I'm sure. So yeah, they need a new space, and again, just kind of like, can we give this police more room? And if we refurbish the 2nd/3rd floor upstairs, can we move these meetings up there? Again, it requires a grant to make it accessible, AD accessible.
It has to have an elevator.
Yep. So we need to get but again, there'll be
Or
grants
a
for that,
lift.
and where do we put it?
Can we do a chair, a stairwell one? Does that work? I
Oh.
don't think it does, because
Yeah.
I think the idea behind it is you have to be able to do it alone.
Okay, yeah. Well,
You could do a stair chair.
well, no,
alone.
because if they
No,
require the
because
stair
with
chair,
wheelchair, you have to get out of the wheelchair to get on the chair.
and then how they get their
Have
wheelchair to the
chair
top.
upstairs.
The stairs.
It's a very.
They just
You
hold it, they
just
fold
have
it
an
and hold
extra
it.
one. We have extra ones
Yeah.
out there.
What?
But,
No, we would have. I mean, I think
Yeah.
you could technically. You'd have to figure it out.
Right, but I've been looking at grants for elevators for aging municipal buildings, because I think that, a lot of the upstairs could be fixed with volunteers, or I could do some of it, I haven't seen it myself, Joy's told me it's really big, and that would give Chief his own office and place to keep his
Hey,
stuff.
Chief.
But you don't
while I
want
have
him
you,
up there.
don't forget to send me.
his own
'cause-
office here.
Yeah,
Because we're in the
and
capital
this would
improvement
be the
committee
other
meeting,
police
so
officers
don't
that
forget
all
to
have
send me your
desks.
square footage requirements, your space
Yeah.
requirements for
Yeah,
updating stuff.
yeah, I'm not even there yet. Yeah, I'll try. Like,
Yeah.
when is like your drop dead time? I guess is like the.
No, it's not for
Just
this year, we're just
Yeah.
trying to figure out how
Well,
to
no,
get
even if we
everybody
want to
moved
start a
around.
warrant
Well,
article.
here's the question, Tia. All of this fits into the master plan.
Right.
Yeah.
So do we have to wait to
Yeah.
see what the master plan comes up with to say, because at some point maybe, like I was saying, the school isn't utilizing piece of it. I don't want to move the police to the school because we don't want,
Kids are the worst criminals.
right. We don't want to mix those two. But then, maybe the library moves over there and you take over the entire library building to create, your own space, and then this gets reconfigured for Mad TV or
Right,
whatever.
but it just starts with chief's requirements. That's all we're looking for at this point, is
Yeah.
just your requirements.
I think that
That's it.
requirement's a little more complicated than.
Well-
I would want to have probably, yeah. I think I would need to do some serious research, to look into it and see what other PDs have, because, like interview rooms, which are standard now, which I don't have.
Right.
Evidence storage, which isn't complicated. you know,
But even just like
Yeah.
a tentative list,
sure.
Yeah.
That's, you know, what I mean,
Yeah.
just, that's
I
all your
think
requirements
it
have
really
to be at
does
this
come down
point.
to
Sure.
that, like,
I'll
we
give
have-
you I can
we
give
would
you
be
a
able
tentative
to be
list,
the
yeah.
starting point and say, yes, you should definitely get that info for us, and then we can say, these are some of the needs that are happening, because it's not just the police force, it's the fire department who is in need of restoration and possibly building a bigger space, adding on, and just how we're, like Sharon said, how we're using all of our municipal buildings. Are we using them in the right way? Do we need to create a subcommittee? And really from the master plan, what we would get from that is where we want to focus on, but I don't feel like starting early and being like, these are our needs, we're pinpointing them now. What comes from that? Do we create a subcommittee to study this and put it all together, like the efficiencies of our municipal buildings right now and what we feel like we need?
Yeah, I think,
Give that as a report to the select board.
yeah, that should go, so, yes, so definitely in the master plan, and I feel like your information even should go into the master plan, right, to some concept of, we want our police department to have a safe place, to have enough storage, it's, you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
this is what we want into the master plan, how we want to,
Yeah, and
treat,
Yeah.
you
That
know,
includes
like,
evidence rooms
provide-
and armory and, interview spacing and a holding place if you really
Like
need
the
it.
appropriate space.
Is that-
Yeah, I was like, we're all like, nah.
So-
We're not asking for the moon here.
So I mean, yeah, and I feel like the master plan doesn't define everything, that's where
No.
your requirements
It's
and,
really just a study.
yeah,
It's a study, it's like this is where we are right now, these are our needs, and this is what we want in
Yeah.
the
If
future.
I give you like a Word doc.
But I
Yeah,
don't feel
absolutely.
like starting now
Absolutely.
and being
Give you
like,
something rough.
this really is what we could use, and within the next 10 years, how do we get there?
yep, and even if you
I don't
have,
think that it's bad to start now, and I don't think that it would necessarily be on the planning board solely.
no,
It could come down to just the master plan says we should create these subcommittees to further study this and put these proposals together and figure it out for the town.
Yep.
And then we give that to the select board.
and I feel like the master plan, it's almost like a comparison between a policy and a procedure. Like the policy is kind of, here's the goal, here's in general how we want to do things, the procedure is, here's how we do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like the master plan is kind of this town policy of how we want the town to feel, look, be, you know what I mean?
And act.
But then like something like the capital improvement plan is, okay, how do we get
How do we
chief a better
organize it?
department,
Right.
how do we get Mad TV in a space safe,
Did your gut tell you the whole first floor feels good though for you?
or half of it, or,
I would say, yeah, most of it, the complicating thing is, like a sally port, like a garage.
oh,
That's always been problematic. For instance, this time of year, if we're sitting here at night during a winter storm, we leave the cars out there running, because they get covered with snow and ice and,
And if you gotta go on a
if we gotta
call
go,
now.
yeah, you want it, defrosted,
What
that
about
type of
in
thing.
I
Egypt?
have
There's
to
a
know where
couple
the term
rhino
Sally
shelters.
Port came from.
yeah.
When somebody was
I don't, yeah.
wimping out on the snow, we called
Yeah.
him a Sally.
I think, yeah,
you mean like a carport?
Yeah,
yeah,
like that seems easy enough to
Against
do.
But like
retaining
one of
wall.
those rhino shelter
Yeah,
things.
up on blocks.
You could
So
always
it has
take-
to be up
yeah.
on blocks.
Yeah,
You
but
do
you could
not
always
wanna
take
clear
it down for
Yeah.
the summer, you
Yeah.
wouldn't necessarily need it, but for the winter, you could have it up and the car could be
Yeah.
protected from
But it-
the elements.
And when they're built on blocks, you're not required to, the snow can't cave them in. They
Right.
have to
Yeah.
be high enough.
Well,
I like
I'll warn you that I
Edelweiss.
just put up some signs here. When I pulled
Heard
in, I saw your car under here, and you'll see where my car is
Yeah.
parked, because the snow's, even
Comes
though
off.
there's
The
like
brakes.
rails up there, the brakes, the snow still comes skiing off pretty good. So yeah, putting a sally port in here might be problematic with snow
Snow.
load and everything, but
Yeah.
Or even just like the two
The
back
last two
parking
over
lots,
there.
the
Yeah.
the last two parking spaces over there.
yeah, something to keep the snow. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't want to eyesore or. I bet like I said,
Put it
we've been
in
doing
your
this.
Put it
been doing
in
this
your
for 18
CIP
years,
for
and
this
it's been
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it, I mean,
Put it in
do
the
one of the little
CIP.
forms and fill it out for the
Sure.
CIP and,
Yeah.
'cause
see
it
what
is
happens, cause if maybe we can find a grant that would pay for
the
that.
Walmart grant.
Well,
And,
that'll
yeah,
buy
the
cars,
Walmart does matching grants for police
Yeah.
departments.
for police cars.
Cars and departments, I think.
Ah.
So, it's not, it's, I don't think it's like huge, it's not like they give you 40,000 and 40,000,
Yeah.
I think it's like smaller, but something like that is doable, but I've been researching elevator grants for this building so that the department can have all or most of the downstairs, and then
You
you
could
can
find
just
a
build
grant.
the small walls, you put
Yeah.
all the officers in here and have yourself and the evidence in there, and then even put in a half a wall for, like you said,
Yeah.
Or even maybe you
For,
have a
in-
corner for Mad TV.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
well,
so
they could even, there's room right there out in the hall to put a corner, but that might get the person out of it and they could leave the storage. Cause it wouldn't be enough for all their equipment, but
or even
at
the
least
space,
they're
like,
not physically in that building,
Breathing that
breathing
air.
in that stuff.
but even the space like from the wall up to the stairs, or moving your
Yeah, that's
wall
what I was
out
saying.
to the stairs, like both like coming
Yeah.
in.
We've played around with it. I keep saying I'm gonna do it, lay tape out to get an idea of like a floor plan, but there's been so much discussion over space down here over the years, and
If you give me square footage, I actually do home design stuff, so
She's got the technology
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
CAD.
I have a couple
You
different.
could see it in 3D,
yep.
Yeah, you can,
Sure,
yeah,
yeah.
you can do walkthrough and stuff, I've
Yeah.
done 3 projects.
right
with
down to
2
your
different
desk.
apps and stuff, yeah. So if you even just give me dimensions and I ask for Linda, or if you have the dimensions down here, or if Linda has the dimensions down here, tell me what you've got, tell me what you want.
We have to
we
have
can kind of-
blueprints of this.
I have a
Yeah.
walker wheel in my
where you
car,
can
you
pull
can
it.
just walk it.
Yeah, I've got a walking. Yeah, I've got a wheel. Yeah, I mean, when I think it was Robert Colcord, and maybe Jake's father-in-law that did this renovation down here when they moved the building.
Yeah.
And put the walls in, and I mean, and they was talk about, we pulled ceiling tiles to see where the load-bearing areas are, and none of these are load-bearing walls that I
Oh,
know of.
wow, okay,
So I mean, they're easily moved, but.
yeah,
And that door should be easily moved to the inside the,
But yeah, and there's
You can
certain
move it.
access that other departments would need in there. I
you
mean,
could put that door right on the inside of the stairwell though.
Yeah.
So that at the bottom of the stairwell, you go in the door and
Yeah,
then come
yeah.
out this way
Yeah.
to everything else.
so
yeah, I'll get you, I'll do something up with some square footage and space-wise, and
and
what
your
I'm
wish list
interested
of
in, yeah,
interview room
sure.
and even like, a
It's this path of
public-
least resistance type thing, put them down here and if we can get the grant for the elevator, we can have full use of 2 more floors.
oh, I would put a car in here, I would
Yeah.
park a car here.
Garage door right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah,
Then you're back to shortage of desk space.
Yeah, I mean, certainly like moving we arrest people and bring them here to interview them, and to have like a space where you can, handcuff them to a chair, and that's not necessarily a holding cell, but a safe place where we can talk to people, and, if I need to go somewhere out to the car or to the restroom, I don't have to worry about this guy getting up and running off, he's
Right.
chained to the
He's-
chair, that's
That's
Either
holding
that
the
or,
floor.
that's
or
holding
takes the
floor,
whole,
and he's not going
or you
anywhere.
have one of those, the handicap rails that go
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
wall and you chain them to
Yeah.
that, so you can move like
But,
a
you know,
foot, but that's it.
There's definitely best practices things, now, and I'm following some of what Conway PD is doing with their new building, and it definitely everybody's kind of outgrowing the space, and there's new best practices for Ossipee Police got a soft interview room for, victims of crimes that you bring them in, and it's
It's pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's
Yeah.
neutral, they don't feel like they're, in the principal's office, in my office.
Yeah.
There's comfortable lighting chairs, and it's a safe place for them to talk.
Yep, and it seems like you should have like at least half, you should have like half of your office completely locked. Like I almost feel like very rarely should people be in your office with all your paperwork and all your everything. I feel
Yeah,
like you said, like there should be like a not even an interview room, like
Vestibule type thing.
a lobby that doesn't have to be locked up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then very rarely does anyone go in there uninvited, so, and I can keep it locked.
No, I mean even invited. It just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, and you want people to have, I want them to feel like there's an open door policy, and they can come in and, spill out their
Spill out their guts.
Yeah. Their
Done
life. So yeah, I try finding a balance to, keep information safe, feel
Yeah.
safe to talk, but yeah, but yeah, I'll won't interrupt you too much more, but yeah, I'll do something up and, I'll get it to you in the next week or so.
Yeah, like a wish list
Yeah.
versus a needs list, or want list versus a needs list, and then square footage, and, you know, even like even if you're this interview room, you don't necessarily have to define
Yeah.
10 by 10, but you know, you could just say, I would need at least, you know,
Yep.
9 by
Corner
7.
somewhere.
Just estimate, yeah,
Right.
just an estimate.
Enough space for, you know, a table and a couple people to sit around it, you know,
Yep.
and
And I
Throw
can
some
kind
vase of flowers and you got yourself space.
Yeah, yeah. Alright, sounds good.
Thank you, yeah, just
Yeah.
anything you have, and even if, again, we start like a police ETF and just start putting money
Yeah.
away, or if this would probably fall under general government buildings and not an expense to the police department
Yeah.
anyway, so.
Yeah, okay. And I sent you an email, I got most of it in there, but I'll touch base with Dave and
Okay.
the other things. so.
yeah, get some of the other information.
Okay.
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
ladies,
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Thank you. And obviously we have Mad TV here, because Asia presented at well, actually we had 3 members of Mad TV at the select board meeting, and they presented getting them out of that garage, and getting them into
Yeah.
healthy air, and making sure that they have a place where they can lock up their equipment, and yet
Right.
keep it air conditioned in the summer because it's computer equipment, and then just a healthy place for them to be able to sit and do their work.
I do feel like worst case scenario, if there's a discussion about all of this and, you know, we wanna move Mad TV to here and we're gonna put in the ADA compliant lift to get people up to where a conference would be, you know, and we use the 3rd floor kind of deal. I do think that in the meantime, there should be, cause they're still in that space, there should be a mini split system put on the wall in there that then brings that air from the outside and
Yeah.
that air gets vented back out, that you're not.
Yeah, cause you have heat and AC, so it's,
Right,
you'll be covered either
Right.
way.
right.
Cause is the window open in there? So you can't even get like a portable AC where you put the little tube,
Right.
you know what I mean?
The window might open, I don't
Yeah, cause
remember.
that's another thing for AC purposes, I
Is
don't
to
know about
put a
heat,
window
but-
one in.
Or no, not even the window one or those portable ones that you just have to put the little hose out the window.
Right, yeah.
You know,
I mean the 8-inch hose.
yeah, it's like a little, it's
Yeah.
kinda 8 to 10 inches, I think, depending on the size.
But
the
I,
school
like I said, I
also-
do think a mini split system would
This-
work really well for them.
But I think too, Nicole, you were kind of onto something, like, we don't necessarily need, like, we could, you know, even having that as storage so we can go get our equipment, but an office space where we're not sitting in there working,
Right.
kind of separating the two, maybe, cause that would mean less space.
I mean, a
Maybe that
temporary
would be-
fix.
Yeah, temporary fix.
So you said the rec director had an office here that they don't use.
I think it's tiny.
We should look,
But
we
yeah.
should,
Yeah, but
well, she
how
said
much-
she should look at it.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
look at
probably
it and
long.
see
Cause
if
like
it's,
you know, even our server doesn't have to be in the room with us, cause if anything's going on with that, it's all done remotely.
and where's the server
so-
now? It's
in
over there?
Yeah,
So you could still have the server, you could have
Right.
all your equipment and server and everything over there, cause it doesn't breathe,
right.
right? It's
You
not
sure
breathing
that's
in.
an office? 'Cause
I mean, it's
back-
ventilated for it, but it doesn't breathe in they're not breathing in that
Right.
noxious fumes. And then
Oh,
you could sit over here for desk space,
Yeah,
Alright.
at least temporarily to
right, yeah.
get you in a
That's
healthier
good
space.
point. Yeah.
So I did add, basically police department space, Mad TV space, and I can't remember if I added kind of town hall
I don't see it.
upstairs to the CIP, but I will. So when they come with when Mad TV is able to kind of provide even loose requirements, like you're talking, you need a safe place to lock, you need a safe place to work,
Mhm.
not necessarily the same place.
Yeah.
So just define your requirements that you need AC for the equipment, you know what I mean, like, just even whatever list, and if you hypothetically happen to feel, well, I need at least an 8x6, not just a 4x4 room, you know what I mean, like, just kind of basic, what space do you need? I'll, do the same thing for the police, just kind of come up with those specs, and then, I can help you fill out the cost or the proposal form to do that. Alright, and then town hall upstairs is also another thing, so we have to do the proposal forms for those things, but I put them in here as placeholders, so that they're on the radar while we do the proposal stuff. Then, last thought was, along the same lines of town space is Little Red Schoolhouse, also more properly known as the Madison Corner School, because we have an independent group of folks just trying to figure out, raise money, whatever, and we did get, thank you to Nancy Martin, took two years to do it, but she got us on the New Hampshire 7 to Save list.
Which does not bring any money
No, it brings in visibility and advertising.
and resources.
And resources,
Access to resources, but
Yeah.
it does not bring money.
correct.
It's not
But I feel like that is also town space. And you know, the committee is trying to come up with some ideas as to what to do with it, but obviously it all requires the whole town. But
So
anyway,
at the last school board meeting, I asked what the warrant articles this year look like for the school. And one of them, the last warrant article, is to add $25,000 to the Little Red Schoolhouse Fund. I told them that my knee-jerk reaction is I'm not in favor of it because you can't tell me what you're gonna do with it.
yeah,
I've told Jim Curran, you gotta go back to these guys, they've got to have a plan. There's already $50,000 in that fund. If you wanna put another $25,000 in the fund, you need to tell me what it's gonna pay for.
And if they're not gonna use it because now they're needing less and less space, like that used to be the music room,
Right,
and now they're,
might not be
now they have
because
empty
you only,
classrooms.
right, because you only have 80 kids going to school next
Next
year.
and there's costume storage in the basement, and thank you Snell Brothers who just cleaned out the basement over there, the little schoolhouse, so that's space that's freed up and stuff.
Yeah,
They
there's,
had when they've been doing their presentations, at community events, they've had a poster in the place that it could be a community center or offices or, but they're just not sure what the space would be yet.
Right, museum, like,
So maybe we need a little bit more digging
yeah, yep,
into
So-
that.
yeah, they've been looking into it for, probably a year and a half,
At least.
yeah, so
I
hopefully.
think it's a great space for Matt TV though.
There you
because
go. School
They
meetings
have
nowadays
storage
are right there.
downstairs, they have a little, even if they only get a quarter of it to have an office.
Right.
It's pretty, it's well lit, it has windows that open.
Cause if for some reason we did get the dream of doing, I wouldn't even say it's a dream, we wanna make upstairs happen,
Yeah.
there's equipment that you would leave there. You would leave microphones, you would leave, you know what I mean, like
If they
things
moved
to be able
this
to
room
host meetings
up.
in there.
Right.
And honestly, that would be big enough, you wouldn't have to have any meetings at the school anymore. Do you know what I mean, like even this, like the school board could use that space.
I don't know that they come to us.
Yeah.
but I don't-
But just if, yeah, I mean, they could still, I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out how to make
You're
your,
spitballing.
like town hall, town meeting. You wouldn't have to haul and set up town meeting. Anyway, yeah, alright, moving on. That's pretty much everything I had,
It would be big enough for town meeting.
possibly.
Wow.
What would be
Possibly.
big enough for?
The
Upstairs?
footprint, the
300
footprint,
people?
possibly. It's big,
Really?
it's very big. Maybe it's
Wow.
cause of high ceilings that it feels bigger.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's still not bigger than the downstairs here. It's still the same footprint. If you take out all the walls.
You gotta go up, it's cool.
It's this
Yeah.
big.
It feels bigger.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does because of the high ceilings, but
Yeah.
it's still only,
Yeah.
25 by 40.
Yeah.
I don't know, gotta see it. Okay, so Sharon, updates from Sharon?
I sent to you all, don't think we're gonna get to it today, but I think we need to take a look at it, and I think they need significant help. Went to the school board meeting on Monday. It was a long meeting, it was a 4-hour meeting. From a CIP perspective, I won't even go into the whole budget portion of it, but people need to go to the budget meetings for the school.
Yeah.
Um,
Now that we have that important date thing.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure that they're doing this correctly because some of it does and some of it doesn't make sense to me. And I think it might require that maybe we can talk to Heather Sherwood, who does this, who creates this, and see if she can come and sit with us and explain, or maybe at least even just me, so that we don't have to call a whole nother meeting. But yeah, they were looking for, if you go to the 2026 column, the 25-26 column,
Yeah.
and then the 26-27 column, I know they're trying to even out how much they're gonna ask for, so starting next year, it's $135,000 a year. But, like in some years, there's no need, in other years, there's only a $13,000 need, and, a $45,000 need, and a $92,000 need.
Are you looking at the school CIP?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
And I'm looking at the bottom, but I was not sure what constitutes that 92,001, the 92,166. Where are those?
That's the planned yearly withdrawals, so, yeah, where's,
Right, yeah,
where are
where
they saving versus
the
where are they
withdrawals
withdrawing?
are gonna be based on whatever their, and is it just this one says 92,166 plus, is it the 92,166 plus 44,73? What makes up the 92,166? So I'm, like I said, I'm not 100% sure that they've got all these things
Well, it
wired
looks
and
like,
dialed
yeah,
in.
so it looks like they've got 79,000 for the generator for 2026, 12,000 for carpeting in the office and library, and $70,000 for bathroom stuff, bathroom partitions, or whatever. So do those three numbers add up to that?
I don't know.
What were the numbers again? 79 plus 12 plus
Wait, I don't even see where
69.
you're getting generator, 79.
That's 161.
Right, not
Close.
92,166.
Oh.
So, like I said, we need some discussion, I think, on this to better understand how they're doing this.
Yeah.
Do we review their CIP as well, or is that just to the budget committee and then over to the select board?
No, I think it's a CIP, I think we should review it and take a look at it. They have no problem giving it to us, so,
Yeah, they definitely maintain it.
Okay.
yeah.
They maintain it, so it's just data for us to kind of look at the big picture.
Well, I think it's data for us to look at it and to validate some of it as to, does this actually make sense, what you're doing and how you're doing it? And like where it says carpeting in the office and library, I would say you don't need carpeting in the office. Every other school that I've been in has linoleum in the office, the same as it does in the classrooms and everywhere else. The library usually has carpeting in it for sound dampening for the kids, so that it's a quieter space. But the office, they strip and wax those floors like they do every other floor. So do we need to have?
What's there now?
I think it's carpeting,
Okay.
but I think it's carpeting over old linoleum, over flooring, the same flooring that's in the
That
school.
might even match, yeah, so it might just pull it up, match
Pull it up,
and
strip it and clean it.
Yeah.
So stuff like that.
Anything else?
So I do encourage people to go. There aren't many more meetings because they only meet the first Monday of every month, once a month, and they're getting down to the wire. I did, from an ABC perspective, I passed along to them what the expectations were with regard to salaries. I also voiced some chagrin that the salary increase for the superintendent was going to be just under $10,000 this year and was just under $10,000 last year. The biggest challenge that they're still facing is the healthcare. Healthcare costs went up 22%
Right.
for them because they're under school care. So,
But what's the justification if all of the enrollment keeps going down significantly? Who are you in charge of? You were in
Right.
charge of a principal that was in charge of 140 kids 5 years ago.
More than that.
Now you're in charge of a principal who's in charge of
80.
80 kids.
All right, that's budget, not CIP. That's
Yeah.
as we've gone almost to the 3.5 hour
Yeah.
mark, I'm trying to.
So anyway, I do encourage
Yeah.
people to go look at that, but and see. But from a CIP standpoint, we didn't even have time to look at it during the school board meeting because everything else was so long. So we have to.
Yeah, and I don't think necessarily you can equate what you're responsible for. I get it, like 88 children versus 140, but we have the school, we have an elementary school. It's not like that goes away. And I think
Well,
that
it could.
this person, I have kids in the school, and I just feel like it's such a crux of our community that if you're running a school, I don't know if it can fully be based on how many kids are in it at this point. It's not like it's one kid. We wouldn't be sending our our one child. Hopefully it doesn't get that low.
Just one last
I mean.
One
we'd
last
probably
point
be
is that,
sending off to another school, you
right,
know?
so one last point is that I did stress to them that they needed to start now, or actually they should have already started, and I was disappointed that they had not, a sort of feasibility study. At what point is it infeasible to run an entire school based on the number of children that you have, or based on, your attendance? And I recognize that it's tough to close down and then reopen if the population goes back up. But somebody's got to be looking at what else could be done with those spaces from a critical, from an infrastructure standpoint, and what changes, which would then go into the CIP, what changes would need to be made in order to, I don't know, if you say you move the library over there, and the town library is attached to the school, you're gonna have to put up walls and locking doors to prevent the public from gaining access to the school during school hours to keep those children
They already
safe.
have one right by
But,
the
I-
gym,
yeah,
yeah, you just have to
so-
move it, yeah.
So that's the question. None of that exists right now. They haven't even looked at it. And I said they thought it was a great idea, and I said, then you need to start now, like now, today. Talk about putting together that
Maybe
committee.
another school would want to send their kids here.
And,
Maybe
and
another,
I-
a neighboring town would want to send.
well, they already do.
Yeah, they talked to Albany and stuff, but
Yeah,
We
so
gotta-
anyway, but the feasibility study is something that has to happen, because that'll feed the master plan and it'll feed the capital improvement plan.
okay. Alright, anything else on your list?
Well, you have the sheets from Chief.
Yes, I'll update the
Yep.
CP.
Yeah, he's got as much information as he has at the moment. He will get more. It still only looks, the only thing he's looking at is in next year potentially replacing the 2019 Dodge Charger.
And that's for 2027, I think.
2020, year to replace 2027.
Yeah.
So, but what should he be putting away, or what should he be acting? And we had talked about creating a police ETF so that he can have money going in via a warrant article every year, $10,000 a year or whatever
Get
it
rid of
is,
the interest.
to get rid of the interest, to buy the car outright, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I told him that I could help him or talk to Linda about what specific language for the warrant article would need to be addressed. That's something that needs to go, obviously, I think, to the selectmen, because that would probably be it's not a petition warrant article, it's a selectmen's one, so.
Okay,
And then
so
there was,
I'll update.
yeah. And I've not, did you get from Dave Swift the rest of the pictures to put into that
Not yet.
document, the fleet document, so that we all have a copy of what that fleet document looked like and pictures of those vehicles?
No, I have, he gave us, I think, all main trucks and a couple other pieces of equipment, and we had also asked him to send that, document version, or Word version
Yes.
of the report, so I could just cut and paste and put it all
Right.
together. Yes.
Have you gotten that?
I have not, I
Okay.
haven't followed up with him yet either.
Okay, and I can follow up with him too.
Okay. So there were two pieces, there was the full fleet, and then that Word document of that, so I can paste it all together.
And Word doc to Joy.
Copy of these.
Sherry,
Yeah.
did you have any updates from yours?
From my, from
Your
the,
list.
from my list? No, from the, so I have the DPW and the police, and did I have anybody else? It's in the
I
minutes.
think that was it.
Yeah, I think that's
And
it.
then I had Code and Chief Brooks.
Yeah.
Right.
So code we
So
have,
for Code, I received some information from Dave Swift coming from iWork. So I sent that over to Joy.
Yep.
And Joy, were you able to get that?
yep, and I put it in, and so it's in the new one that you guys have. And also, they always do a hand-me-down, that came up in the last select board meeting, is they always do a hand-me-down, so
Yeah.
they don't plan to replace it, they might
They just
theoretically
move
just
one.
give them the 2019 Charger they were talking about,
Right?
so,
Makes sense.
Okay.
so they don't necessarily have to finish it.
Yeah. And it's still good for you guys to be on the same page and to have that in the CIP, because we were kind of going back, or I was going back and forth with him as to if it has to be on there, but it really does, because it's
Yeah.
still a town asset.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if it's,
And that plus
you know,
it,
a hand town or whatever, it's still our property, so we gotta keep track of it.
Absolutely, yep, I didn't pull it off the CIP, I just put like, you know, whatever the planned purchase price or the funding, whatever it was, the total cost, I just put hand-me-down, cause,
Yeah, and that will help you too, like, even if it comes to it and there is no hand-me-down at the time that he needs a new vehicle, what kind of vehicle, you know, like Nicole was saying in the last meeting, maybe it doesn't need to be a certain truck, maybe it could be a car or something like that, but it gives you the information that you need. And also, Mr. Boyd updated the mileage,
yes.
it's not 110.
Oh.
Oh, hang on, he sent me.
Yeah, David given us, I think, 110, I think.
I think Dave did 10, and then Bob came back and said, where are you, Bob? That's taking my.
While you look that up, do you have more detail from, Chief Brooks?
I do not.
Okay.
Okay, I did find the mileage. It's 112, 319.
is there an as of date?
That is as of today, so that was December 1st.
Alright, thank you.
Yep. And then, so I didn't realize, so Chief Brooks has to stay up in the office, but I asked him to come down today. But I guess Becky is on vacation, so
Okay.
she's on vacation for all Thursdays. So,
All
she's stuck up in the
Thursdays?
office.
Wait, I'm sorry, go back and say that, all
But
Thursdays?
oh, go ahead.
You said she's on vacation for all Thursdays?
Yeah, I think she's using up
Use or
her,
lose, till the end of the year then?
time or something.
Like, not every Thursday on the face of the earth, just to the end of the year.
If she has
No.
52 Thursdays in vacation time, she can use it.
Yeah, just gotta use up that time, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did look back through his, information and his different forms, because we had questions about, you know, what would the project entail that he was talking about, and we wanted some more information on the ambulance specifically. So I will try and get a hold of him and get a call into him and talk to him more about that. But I don't have any more information as of now. When I was looking back through the information he gave us on the, I think it's, hang on, let me pull it up here.
Because I think primarily what we need from him at this point, the usage stuff is, we've got a lot of it. What we have a lot of blanks on is the purchase planning part of it.
Yeah, it was the, are you talking about
Fire department?
every truck?
Yeah,
Truck or, okay.
I mean, they have some trailers, they have 4 different trailers that he doesn't have a replacement plan for, but should we?
Why? We
Yes.
don't use the ones we got.
There's a forestry truck, there's one that I know we were talking about selling, so I don't know if we still have it, cause we have no information on that one.
I have,
Upgrades to the rescue truck on a 7-year lease, we don't have any planning information for that.
so we do, is it the forestry truck, the 2005 GMC 4-engine one? Cause there's a note here that says sell with an asterisk.
No, I'm actually talking about, the 2009 Ford F-150 for forestry one.
Ah,
I don't have any planning information for replacing that.
and it looks like they
So I
wanna
can
sell
ask him
that GMC
to
this year.
fill that out. I was looking at MFR 7, the page that he filled out from his cost analysis form. And it's the station expansion and upgrades, and he's looking at a 40-foot extension of the rear of the station, incorporating a hose drying tower, vehicle exhaust extrication system, and generator replacement. And that's really all I have. He wants to apply for grants.
Good.
Through FEMA if funds are available. And that would be starting in 2030.
Yep, got that.
So I guess I would just, from him, I would want, just more information.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, I want to know, you know, when he can start to apply for grants. I want like a full plan,
Yeah,
And-
exactly.
a detailed
Well, once we kind of, I
description
think,
of the 40-foot extension.
once we nail
There's a
down the
lot.
3 policies, once we kind of formalize those in our next meeting, that's something we can hand over to people and say, okay. You know what I mean? Like if the select board approves it, we can hand that to people and say, okay, here, follow the capital expense policy / procedure. Follow the, you know what I mean?
Purchasing procedure.
Yeah, because it looks like he is expecting to do it through a bond in 2030. But if we can start to add to that before,
An ETF, yep, save ourselves
yeah.
a couple $100,000. Do you, so
Yeah,
if you have those
Like, I really
forms,
think that it needs to start now, and I'm saying this because I haven't had the chance to talk with him, but, I feel like for a project that big, it really does need to start now.
and again, we have to assess if they're looking to expand it, how many trucks do we have, how many trucks do we need? Do we need to expand a garage if we don't need all the trucks?
Well, what's the requirement? Let's start with the requirement for the fire department. How many people, how many trucks do we need to have?
Right.
To respond to the calls that we have. So one of the things we have to look at is historically, what's the call volume been?
Right.
And where is that data? And that data needs to come not necessarily just from the town report, but from the actual 911 logs that show us what those calls and what those response times and things of that are. There needs to be a feasibility study that starts all of this based on requirements.
So.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. So yeah, if you could forward me whether it's, you know, photocopies, or, an email of his stuff, scanned versions of his stuff, I'll update the CIP while you work with him to get more info.
Okay. And is there a feasibility study, is there a template for that? Like, for
No,
the select board?
no,
No.
but they never even
No.
had a proposal form for a capital improvement,
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
think. So, yes, do they have a feasibility study outline? No.
But it should be easy to
Okay.
find one online.
But basically, he's got to follow the policy, the purchasing policy anyway, with the different S100, how to go through that. And then you've got to give us some more information on our cost analysis proposal.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just didn't want to go to him and be like, hey, can you create a feasibility study? And
Yeah,
all
no,
that thing.
yeah, no, that, I feel like that would even have to go to the select board where, do we even want him to bother with one?
Right.
Do we want him to pay, you know, take his taxpayer hours and do that,
Okay.
so.
Well, they're his chief hours, not his taxpayer hours.
Well, no, the taxpayers pay a stipend. I guess I meant that, town paid hours, his town paid hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are no hours attached to that. It's just a flat stipend, whether he works 1 hour or 2,100 hours.
Yeah, but do we want his time spent on that versus other things?
I would
So
say
could
that
I
if
send
you want,
that
looking
back
for $1 million
through
bond,
the
yes.
No, what I'm saying
Joy?
is the,
Oh, hang on, I'm sorry. We talked all over you, Tia, sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. is that something I can send back through you, Joy, to the select board to say, hey, for something like this, we'd really like a feasibility study?
Yeah, we should build that into the
Build that
policy.
into the policy, yeah.
Okay. So I feel like specifically for that project, and then, I mean, we do have we have the police department one too, so that maybe it goes together.
Yeah.
And then also we want to figure out the top 2 floors of the town hall building. Really, we need just an evaluation of our municipal building. So
Yep.
whether it comes back to us or we put that on each department head for that. It's like we have the salt shed, we have the fire department, we have the police, and so does the select board think that now is a good enough time to
Well, I feel like they need,
start a
so,
committee or something like that to help them with it?
right, so I feel like that, again, like follows this process where he's got his form,
Yeah.
he's provided the idea with with the
Yeah.
loosely associated dollar amount, with how potentially he wants to fund it, and then, either we make the recommendation or we hand over this CIP to the select board to kind of say, okay, this is on the list, do we wanna pursue that right now? No, I don't even want to waste time on a feasibility study, we got other things. Or, yeah, that's a priority. So I feel like that's kind of, before they even proceeds with the feasibility study, then it kind of has to get select board direction to do that or not.
So do you want to send that ahead of time to the select board, or do you want us to finalize our CIP and that's one of our recommendations?
I feel like we
Like
should
in-
finalize the CIP
CIP.
and put everything together, that way they see
All
all
of
the
it.
projects.
Right.
Okay. Nicole's like, I'm not going to that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So is there anything else specifically that we want to include in the final CIP? Because I feel like between now and the 18th, I should have to you, the cover page, everything like ready to go, and then we insert Joy's data and all of the department heads' data, and then we need to write up our recommendation.
Yes, I think that once I have all of the data, we'll print out one last big version to go over in the next meeting. And we obviously prioritize, we start looking at 2026 first. And I can actually print it, we can have it printed by department, but then I feel like I should have one that's in order of what years we're looking at. Like, let's look at make the 2026 ones the top lines, then the 27 ones, the next lines.
Yeah, I
We
think
can look at it
by
both ways.
department and then by year,
Yeah,
with subtotals.
yeah,
Like have a line for the subtotals for the years, and the subtotals for the departments.
okay,
Okay.
That way we know, like DPW is looking for $150,000, the police are looking for $60,000.
okay.
Okay.
So if you guys could have,
And,
yeah, go ahead.
oh, go ahead. Do we include the highway CIP and the school CIP?
I think we can, but I think we also need to caveat it with, like, especially with the school CIP, that, we gave it a cursory look, but we did not spend in-depth time on it.
Nor do I think we should spend too much time on it this year, we're running out of time.
uh,
That, I mean,
I
as a
get that.
committee, as a
Yeah.
committee, I feel like as a committee, that should probably,
then I think we need to manage the school's expectations, because they're expecting, I think, that we're gonna look at this and give them some sort of guidance.
oh, okay. I would think at this point it's
okay.
budgetary. Cause I feel like our role primarily is data gathering, which they've gathered, and then,
Only for this year is it budgetary. For out years, like, should they even be replacing the carpeting in the office?
right,
That's not budgetary, that's
but that's also, yeah,
planning.
but, yeah,
So,
Alright.
The one thing I did want to ask though too is going back to this feasibility study and the evaluation of the municipal building upstairs is, what did the selectmen decide to do with regard to that organization that comes in and does the walkthrough of all of your facilities and all of your critical infrastructure, all of your assets and resources, and gives you an evaluation of which ones are crumbling around your head and which ones are in dire need?
There was no decision made about it.
Well, are you going to make a decision? Is the selectman going to make a
Did
decision?
we even talk about it at the last meeting?
Jake was gonna meet with somebody about, but I think it was more in relation to how, energy use. Wasn't it? He said he was gonna.
I guess we need to know whether or not the third school dropped out and we hop on.
They're still hemming and hawing. I did
Okay.
ask that at the school board meeting.
Okay,
They're still hemming and hawing, like they don't really know.
so I guess
To be included, you mean?
yeah,
Whether or not they want to buy in to have that organization come do their stuff. And I think it's Freedom that is hemming and hawing.
okay. So I guess I feel like we should we can't make a decision whether or not to do it until we have a price, and we don't have a price until whether or not, whether we know
If the school.
the other.
I think that's
schools.
sort of independent. I don't know that it would be the same price as like if Freedom drops out, then their $30,000 would translate to us. I think it's all
No, but if
dependent
we
on-
did it completely independently on our own without the group discount, it would be more expensive.
Correct, and I think it's possible to get those two costs.
Yeah.
By Jake, if he's the one.
I don't know, it might be
Spearheading
confusing
this.
thing, well, he was meeting with somebody
Well,
about.
Yeah.
and he's the one the ABC
Okay,
gave
all right,
the
just, yeah.
information to
Yes.
go back to the select board, because it was not an ABC issue, it was a select board issue.
Yeah, I don't think we even really discussed it. Like you said, I think Jake may have.
He made a comment about it,
Yeah, but I don't.
but I don't know if it's the same thing.
Yeah, and there wasn't really much of a discussion of it.
I think he said he was gonna meet with Heather Sherwood
He was gonna meet with Heather Sherwood.
Okay.
about it,
That sounds familiar.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it was, yeah.
Okay, so I do think that piece, if it's going to happen, should happen sooner rather than later, so that you then know what you're dealing with regard to that third floor.
Okay.
That will help with those decision matrix types of things, I believe.
So it's like a feasibility study, basically.
It's not a feasibility study, it's a infrastructure report on,
That would inform.
that would inform, like,
The feasibility
who,
study.
you're not gonna, this is falling down around your head, you're gonna need, if you wanna use this space, you're gonna need significant repair costs to this, that kind of thing. Or, nope, this space is in great shape, is really, if you wanna upgrade it, sure, there's some modern technology or prettier ceiling tiles or new carpeting, but other than that, structurally, this room is fine. You might need new windows or something. But they look at everything from top to bottom about all of that stuff.
Or we can have people, like contractors come in and go, yeah, okay, no, those are solid walls. I don't know if we have to
Was
wait
it,
for.
was it this building that there was something with the top floor and not being
Heated or
collar
something?
ties or something, cause it moves so
Oh,
much?
jeez, I don't know.
Something about that, I have to find out, maybe my.
Yeah, that's what we should find out.
Right.
Tia, do you have anything? I kind of have on a related note, the general government stuff, we kind of went through and decided, like, pavilion would fall under, yes, the BOS, town hall front porch and like sign on Village Road kind of stuff, like,
The sign on Village Road is done.
I know, but just saying things like that would kind of administratively done, not by the BOS, decision made by the BOS. Ultimately, every decision regarding general government is decided by the BOS, however they delegate, the discovery of how much it's gonna cost to do vinyl siding. So, the BOS owns all of those things, so, I need to ask the BOS to either assign them or determine them, basically to complete this out.
I was gonna say,
complete this.
who on the BOS is going to do this? It'll end up falling to Linda.
They said that certain things were definitely not Linda, so, so who's gonna provide the information for the CIP?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And I need to basically assign.
And can they get it done by the 18th?
So I'll ask that in the BOS meeting.
And don't let them make you responsible for it,
Yeah, I don't,
cause that's a dual role.
Yep.
That's not what we want.
yeah, and I'm not gonna ask how much it's gonna cost to vinyl side town hall. Whoever does it just needs to follow the purchasing policy. What you got,
Question
Tia?
on the library, Sloan gave you more information on the library the last meeting we were in,
Yep.
is that right?
Yep, I updated the CIP with
Okay.
it.
Oh, okay.
The
okay.
paving can be put out 5 years, and then I think it was the paving and then the roof. She
Okay,
said those,
and then ADA
that's done.
doors, that's something that's going on now, right?
Yeah, oh no,
Yeah.
sorry, not done, it's funded, but she's still doing
Okay.
the project itself. And then I think the second exit on the lower level is just kind of a work in progress as to how they're gonna figure that one out.
The what on the lower level?
I'm putting in a second door, I think I don't know if it's fire
is it on
codes
here?
or, yeah.
Where?
It's library second exit on lower, it's round
I'm looking-
75-ish.
I'm looking at the November 20th version, I'm not looking at the
Oh.
latest version, so it
Okay.
was not on the November 20th version.
Okay, I think I gave you a print, the new
Yeah,
one.
I did.
Yeah, so that's been updated with Sloan stuff.
This
Okay.
is 12/4.
I feel like if anything, we've updated this program. And we've touched base with every department head to get their information, their insight, and just kind of prodded enough so that we can figure out some of the plans they may have in the near future, and
Thank
even
you.
some plans that are out a ways.
Yep.
So I feel like it's been a good process. I don't feel like we should really, as a town, go without this process. And I don't know, I've enjoyed learning. I've learned so much. You guys have taught me like everything. Seriously. So I'm feeling pretty thankful and grateful for that. And the town has some great leaders in you guys. So
Well, now you too.
Yes.
So I feel like this is pretty solid. I think that we have some higher aspirations of what this could be going out longer, and just getting things in more order. But I mean, this morning we doubled down on like policies, and we have all this updated information. So I think we'll be ready to give it a final look. I feel comfortable with what's on it. Not everything is complete, but
Well, then we think
it's
about
in
what's,
much better shape than it was.
yeah, and then we think about our next steps. Like our next steps are not only to have gathered the data, but for us to then kind of review it, do a report, I think. I mean, first we have to get it kind of approved by not first, but eighth step is to get it approved by the BOS, but then also provide our recommendations such as, we're looking to purchase an ambulance, we don't have a grant in hand, we don't have a plan in hand, the CIC would kind of recommend to put that off till 2027.
Till you do have a grant.
Or
put
a
it
plan.
up. Yeah, put it off as long as you don't have any real plan for how you're gonna acquire this. And I think that list of recommendations, what I think they're also gonna be looking for is a final number from us.
Yep.
Like, based on these projects for 2026, this is the amount you need to put in a warrant article in order to fund
Yeah.
these projects.
So so we do a report where we kind of summarize the data, and then we do, then do the recommendations.
And plus the
Okay.
money.
I like that.
Yes, so the report would include the money.
Okay. Should we jot that down, like what or do you want to just talk about it in our next meeting? Like, we want a report with what we need to create for funds, possibly, like the police funds.
Well, I can look at the past CIC, reports in the old annual reports, and, kind of either, I can send you links to them, cause it's all on the UNH website, so you can kind of look at what the reports contained, so we can say, okay, do we wanna follow this structure, cause here it is, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, here's where they listed kind of the expenditures for this year, here's where they listed, their assessment of them, here's where they list the recommendations, do you know what I mean, like, just so we have a kind of
at
a
least
structure.
start with a structure.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Sounds good. Is there anything else? We don't have any administration unless Nicole, we're
She
still waiting
left.
for you.
She left.
She had to go.
Oh, she left. So I don't have anything else. Do you ladies have anything else to touch base on today?
I do not.
No?
Okay, I think we can end the meeting.
Is that a motion to adjourn?
That is.
Gee.
Our next meeting is December 18th at 9:30 a.m. lower level of the town hall.
All right, I second the motion.
All in favor, roll call vote?
Schilling, aye.
Joy, aye.
Yeah,
There we go.
Okay.
All right, we are adjourned. Peace out.
Okay, thank you ladies, bye.